1,000 acres and growing, and right now it is 0% contained at this hour.
Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards delivered some phenomenal reporting last night. She posted a video on social media driving through the Palisades fire on her way back to our station here in West LA. You can
No notification gang. Good morning. What's up? I'm gonna have to send out some emails and tweets. Fire's still going. It's crazy. Have some stuff to talk about once we get people in here and get the numbers up. Let me just spread this out. Gotta grab some breakfast too real quick, or make something real quick.
I mean, talking about a well-populated area.
So Mel, this is in the light of day, and even right then, but in the light of day, you're going to be seeing entire neighborhoods leveled. You're going to be seeing dozens of homes destroyed. You'll see trees down. You'll see what appears to be a war zone, like what Chelsea was driving through last night, for just blocks and blocks.
Some even likening this to what we saw last year in Lahaina when that fire broke out in the Maui, Hawaii community.
That's right.
It is just
morning.
Wild.
There are no words.
Yeah.
And here's video of our photographer Gino Arias and Fox 11 reporter Christy Fajardo driving near the Palisades fire. You can look at that cliffside just completely engulfed. You can see all the emergency vehicles and the smoke in the air. There are emergency evacuations in place for some 80,000 people.
I saw Matthew Seedorf was on the ground last night at Palisades Charter as it was burning. Just extraordinary images and video. So more than 10,000 homes are being threatened by the Palisades fire at this time.
Look at this.
You can see this video of how close the fire is getting to many homes around the area. Let's take a listen.
All right, sending out some emails.
Just be okay. You're gonna be okay, all right? You're gonna be okay. Don't worry about that, bitch. Look at that.
You can't.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that was an individual that was clearly still in his home as those flames were approaching. This video going viral on social media. An evacuation center has been set up for those folks in the Palisades community.
We can only hope and you know, possibly assume that the person who shot this video is doing okay, but we don't have that confirmed, and as soon as we do, we will of course let you know. But evacuees, we know, can go to the Westwood Recreation Center. It is on 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard. Guys, the best way to handle this.
Good morning, guys. No notifications, so if you could help me out with a like and a share. I'm going to let this warm up a little bit, let people join, and then I'm going to go over some of the updates. This thing has been nonstop since yesterday with this fire, and it's been a lot of stuff, been a lot of weird things too. Some people were talking about online streaks in the sky. What the hell was that? There's some video of streaks in the sky. Some people claiming their insurance got canceled before the fire, like weeks before. I don't know what's going on, man.
The Westwood shelter can accept the smoke.
Celebrities' houses burn. Looks apocalyptic out there.
As long as they have their own cage, I believe, or their own little bag or pouch, you can bring them over to that shelter.
Legendary, what's up?
I don't even know where to begin, guys. As I look at these images, I have to share that I have family who have homes in this area. So it is hard for me to watch. Where Gigi...
I'm sorry.
Their house is just around the corner from Corpus Christi, that church. We have been to that church many, many times. We have celebrated different key events in our family. And it's so tough to see this. It would be a miracle if their house was there, but, you know, we're not hopeful or encouraged by the images we're seeing. I also have an aunt. They have their home up at the very, very top of the highlands there. So the cameras, you know, we have cameras around, and there's no power, obviously, and so it's very difficult to check and see how everything is going. First of all, a lot of the power is out in many of these neighborhoods. So traffic lights are out. I know driving into work, we've been talking about some of the debris that's on the roadway. So there's a lot of hazards, even if you're not in and around the areas of that fire. Where do I begin? what is going on, right? We talk about how we've not seen conditions like this ever. I've been doing the weather here for over 24, 25 years. These are conditions that I've not seen in LA. So hard to watch, and we have seen our share, right, of these windy conditions. There are a lot of dynamics in place as to why the weather is the way it is. First of all, yesterday we were watching this area of low pressure. It's still here, by the way, and it's bringing that chance for showers, just not close enough to us. Out towards the east of San Diego County in the southwest, we'll get some showers, but it's that tight pressure gradient between an area of high pressure here and low pressure that was helping to drive these winds. It also was bringing in a lot of this cold air from the north. We had this cold air that just drove in, and that helped to just drive those winds. So we had windy conditions, cold air at all levels of the atmosphere, and that's why these winds were just so powerful and so strong. The bad news is this will continue. In fact, it may get worse before it gets better as we see these relative humidity values even lower. It's going to get drier. We have a lot of vegetation still to burn, and there's a lot of fuel out there, and so we're going to just continue to see, unfortunately, these impacts of the fires, the downed trees, power lines, power outages, travel really impacted by this. And as far as rain, typically during this time, yes, it's unusual to see the Santa Ana winds this early in the year or this late in the season, but we typically would have quite a bit of rain to sort of mitigate the fire danger that come with these events. Typically, we would get over 3 inches of rain, and we have gotten nothing this month. That coupled with the lack of rain the last several months. In fact, this season, the start to this season is the 3rd driest on record for downtown LA. Some areas driest on record ever. We have a deficit now growing. Listen, last year we had a very wet water year. We had a surplus over 7 inches above average in terms of rainfall. The year before we had quite a bit of rain, so we were happy that that drought was gone. But all of this rain allowed all this brush to grow, and here we are after very dry months. This is what we have with this very windy conditions.
Also, I know, Maria. It is an emotional time for everybody out there. It sure is. All right, Gigi, you're there on the ground, and boy, in front of another home that has just gone up.
This is so difficult to watch. Let me get out of the way. You are looking at the Palisades branch of the public library here. It appears to be a total loss. One can only imagine the treasures stored inside, the books, the material, the community library, a center of the community. It appears to be a total loss. If photographer Tony Butita can pan a little bit over to the right, you can see the rest of what was the structures here, and that continues, and we continue to hear explosions just seconds rather, before going on the air. We heard a very large explosion we believe came from the back of the Corpus Christi church and the school. We're going to show you what that looks like in just a minute, but you can see the devastation. Now, over where you see those flames and a little further to the right, that is where the Ralph's grocery store, we're trying to make our way there, but we just keep running into these fires, into the devastation, the destruction. That's Berkshire Hathaway, a real estate firm. That looks like a total loss in all these buildings. We believe this might be Palisades Village right now. It's so hard. Cell phone connection is very, very spotty. It's very difficult sometimes to even look something up on a map to try to determine where you are. I want to go over. This is, we believe, again, part of Corpus Christi School. The school's principal called us, I'm told, asked me to please come and check on the school, on the church. This building is still standing, but there is very thick black smoke coming from behind it. We believe this is the building between, on the other side of the building is where the church is. We saw at least one of the large church structures, a total loss. All you could see was the metal outline of the Corpus Christi church. You just heard Maria Cuban celebrated so many important family moments at that church, a library, the center of a community, and they are basically burning to the ground. There are no firefighters here right now. They're trying to save homes. They're trying to save structures. And basically, they just can't keep up. The Santa Ana winds continue to blow. You might be able to make out the American flag still blowing in all its glory up there, showing you how hard the wind continues to blow. Those embers continue to fly, cause new fires, cause spot fires. The loss is immense here, and we continue to hear explosions. We just heard a very loud explosion from the Corpus Christi church. Something just exploded back there. The church, at least one major building, we don't know if it was the sanctuary or what it was, appears to be a total loss. And the homes, home after home, on block after block, just devastated, absolutely burnt to the ground. And so many homes continue to burn. Firefighters on many blocks telling us they have no water. They're pulling water from swimming pools, trying to save structures. They have no water. They don't know why. They're talking about possible broken pipes. They simply don't know, but they have no water on certain blocks. So certainly a challenge for these hardworking firefighters, some who've been on duty for 24 hours now, fighting the fire here, the Palisades fire. That is the latest. We're going to try to make our way to the Ralphs that we're told could be a total loss. But you can see the library behind me. Again, just a total loss. And it's just heartbreaking to see. And you can just see the building continue to collapse slowly in pieces. This is difficult, so difficult to watch. Yes, Gigi, it is collapsing right in front of us.
Gigi, you have been covering many fires throughout the years. Have you ever seen anything like this?
You know, we covered the Woolsey fire. We covered the Sayer fire. Fox 11, and me and my photographer and I, we were the only crew inside the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park as 497 homes burnt around us. That was devastating. A lot of senior citizens, a lot of folks lost absolutely everything. One sweet woman that we interviewed lost her husband's ashes, and that's all that she had left of him beside the memories. And she was devastated that amongst the ashes of her home were her husband's ashes. And the heartbreak there was so real. So we have covered devastating fires, and this one is definitely going to go down in the books as one of the most devastating wildfires and urban fires that we've seen here in the Los Angeles area.
All right, Gigi, thank you very much for bringing this to us and being out there for us. Please stay safe, and we'll check in with you in just a little bit. It's just extraordinary that there's no water, and you just have to, the fire officials are just helpless.
It's a helpless situation out there. Let's go on to Coco McAvoy. She's in Altadena, and you can see that van just burning behind you.
Yes, it's a really difficult thing to see here in Altadena. We really were trying to get to another location, but we got stopped because Lake Avenue here, a lot of it is on fire. We're at Lake Avenue and Murata Place, and we're just showing you some of the devastation that is already unfolded here. Like you said, a van completely engulfed in flames, along with a portion of this building here. But when you go down the street as well, you can see that there are homes on fire in this neighborhood. A lot of people have been fleeing. I actually spoke to a family before I got on air with you who was telling me they don't even know where to go. They just packed up their family, they packed up their dog, and they tried to get out as soon as possible. We're walking here now towards Lake Avenue because we want to show you what's happening here. There are several emergency responders that are now coming to this area. Police officers along with fire crews as well. You can see that right now. There's a couple that's driving into that neighborhood, probably trying to check to see if their home is okay. But as we're here on Lake Avenue, you can just see that there is a structure there that is engulfed in flames. Firefighters have made their way to try to fight the fire at that structure for right now. But I can tell you, even as we've been walking, it's just constant. At one point, it's one building on fire. Firefighters are trying to fight that fire, and another fire starts immediately in the opposite direction from where they are. I can tell you, too, that there are really embers that are flying everywhere as well, so definitely a dangerous situation. That right there is an ambulance, so we're not sure if anyone is inside of any of these buildings or the homes that are engulfed in flames, but there are some people that are out here some people are getting video. Some people wanted to check on their homes because, of course, this is a very dangerous situation. But as we walk, it's kind of like what I was telling you. It just seems like more fires seem to spark because now right here, another fire has started. So this is a situation that's extremely difficult for firefighters because, you know, the resources are really difficult right now for them to battle these winds, also battle the constant fires that are burning. And it looks like that might be some type of truck that's on fire. I can't tell right now because of the plume of black smoke as well, but it's just constant. A lot of fires all around us.
And Coco, so we were just with Gigi in the Palisades. They are not able to access water, the fire officials in that community, and they're just having to stand there helpless watching these structures burn. It looks like, I see water flowing down the street. It looks like they seem to have water out there. What's their water situation like?
It does look like they seem to have water here, at least at the end of the street where they are battling that fire. They're trying to get that one under control, but like I said, more keep sparking. And I also tell you that a lot of explosions are happening as well as even in this area because of what's burning. Yeah.
I'm hearing that, Coco. I know it's disorienting where you are, but I wonder if those are cars that are exploding, if it's power lines. It seems like there's a number of, are those apartment buildings or buildings that are under construction, but just big buildings in that area that are on fire.
Like a main thoroughfare.
That's exactly right. This building, for example, right here is under construction, and there's also what appeared to be a big truck that burned that's now on fire. I think from what we're seeing, a lot of it is vehicles that are exploding right now, but there are also houses that are on fire as well because the fire continues to jump. But as you see, this fire is really growing rapidly here, so I'm sure that fire crews, once they try to get that structure just right next to us under control, they will probably end up moving to this part of the fire as well, but a lot of emergency crews are in this area.
I'm looking at this gentleman who's in the middle of the street taking video, not advised. Anybody who's in that area just needs to get out of the way and make room for fire crews and first responders to be able to do what they have to do, because it seems like in where you are right now, everything is on fire. Coco, it's just spotting everywhere in that neighborhood right now.
Exactly. It really is important for people to evacuate as soon as possible. I understand that people are trying to document and they're trying to make sure that their homes are okay, but this really is a very dangerous situation, especially because a lot of people that are out here do not have fire equipment. So you got to think about all the smoke inhalation, the embers that are flying. It really is important for people to be as safe as possible.
Yes. Thank you, Coco, for being out there for us. Please take care of yourself. If you feel unsafe at any moment, get out of there.
That's right. Thank you, Coco, and stay safe. Also, let's go out to Mario Ramirez. He is, I believe he's at the Hearst fire?
Yeah.
That's
Sylmar.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning.
Yes, right. With the Hearst fire here in Sylmar, and we're in a community, the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Community. I just talked to a few residents. It seems like some are actually starting to come back into the neighborhood to take a look at the fire activity here behind me. One guy we talked to was riding around on a golf cart, and he says his car down the street is packed, ready to go, and he is just standing by because the conditions here have improved at least. So we're talking about the community here with proximity to the 210 freeway. It's really close to the 210 freeway. They were evacuated here, residents. We watched some of the residents grab what they could, piling up with their families and pets. Some weren't sure exactly where they were going to go, just saying we're heading away from the flames. So this all broke out around 10 o'clock last night. It quickly grew to 500 acres in a few hours, driven by high winds and dry vegetation, and it broke out near the 5 freeway where it meets the 14 and 210 freeways. Several areas are still under mandatory evacuations, which means leave now. That's important to remember, although we are seeing some people come back into this area, and they include residents along Balboa Boulevard, Filbert Street, Bridle Ridge Road, and Nicholas Drive, and a little farther to the north, the area near the Whitney Canyon Park has also been ordered to evacuate. Now, evacuation warnings also in place. We know those can quickly change into orders, and that's basically a large area north of the 210 freeway from Roxford Street. Now, we can tell you that there's a lot of traffic in the area. The eastbound 210 freeway in Sylmar is closed, and the connector to the southbound 5 freeway also shut down due to this fire activity. And we watched as people were basically stopping, pulling over on the side of the road there before getting onto the freeway, calling, getting on their phones, and trying to figure out what to do because there is some major congestion surrounding this fire. And we've talked about those winds for the last couple of minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes. We haven't really been feeling those strong wind gusts like we did early this morning. We were really feeling those powerful winds carry those embers through the air and possibly create spot fires a little farther from where the active flames that we've been watching. So we're going to keep an eye on things here. But
all right, so let me go over a couple of things. Thank you guys for joining. No notification gang, so if you guys could hit the like button, share it out or whatever, I'd appreciate that. Let me just go over a couple of things that I saw on Twitter, and then we'll get back to the live feed from the news. So supposedly Airbnb allegedly is refusing to help those affected. So I don't know, when I'm reading from this, it looks like somebody maybe had rented something in the area, and it seems like she tried to cancel and they wouldn't cancel. It says, this is Jasmine, one of the support ambassadors here in Airbnb. This is, hi Anna, this is Jasmine, one of the support ambassadors. We're sorry to hear that you won't be able to make your upcoming reservation with Alona. Unfortunately, this cancellation is not covered under the major disruptive events policy. Too bad. Sorry, taking your money. They should be able to get refunded. There's also some rummagings. I mean, I only saw this one lady say the story, but insurance being canceled. My parents have been in this house for 75 years. They've had the same insurance, and these insurance people decided to cancel their fire. We're going through this, and it just happened. They don't have fire insurance. Did they know? Did the insurance people know? How would they know?
They've lived in this house for 75 years, and they've had the same insurance. And these insurance people decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance. They've lived in.
So that's I don't know, another Luigi coming? Possibly. This one here says, oh my God, that's $1 million house. This is Malibu, one of the wealthiest, affluent places on the entire planet, and it's being burnt to ashes.
Oh my God. We're out of the way. And until we get water tenders or the water system restored, we're doing the best we can with this. $1 million.
Oh, more. Oh my God, look at all these fucking homes.
From operations, copy that with that.
Oh my God.
That strike team reporting there, or no?
Holy fuck.
I'll take the strike team to assist with the area because we still have the community that needs to leave. But if you have other priorities,
this is insane.
Greater needs,
this is like the most wild thing.
Really crazy. Same lady. There was also reports of the water running out, fire hydrants running out of water. And there's a lot of criticism. The mayor's getting a lot of criticism too. There's an article that I'll read in a bit.
Coming. The other question has to be, were all the things in place to try to, again, mitigate the damage here? But the real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spreads so quickly. And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
That was going to be my next question, is why isn't there water in the fire hydrants?
It's crazy,
that doesn't make any sense.
That is insane.
You're right. It's a good question. And I think you should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her?
Is that for real? I thought you were joking. Ango, I thought you were joking. She's not even in the country? I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe this happened when she was on vacation or something.
It's a good question. And I think you should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her? and get an answer from her.
Well, they say she's on her way back, and that would be a great question to
cut to commercial. He's not supposed to say that.
Ask her tomorrow if she's at this briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I think there's a lot of people that are outraged by that fact tonight when they look at scenes like this, at businesses that people have worked really, really, really hard to build, and homes that people's entire livelihood.
Yeah, that's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And another thing before we get back to the live feed is people are talking about this streak in the sky. What is it? People on X. Streaks in the sky. I don't know. You just saw it. You have to look at it. Streak in the sky. What is it? UFOs, drones, another streak, explosions. China. Yeah, a couple of streaks in the sky. People are wondering what's going on, man. Here's another one. Streak in the sky. Is that gravitic propulsion device from the Cybertruck bomber referring to? I don't know, man. Weird, freaky times. These articles I'll get to. I'll read it while we watch the live feed. I don't have to. Let's get back to the live feed. Which one was it?
Fall, yeah. So we didn't get much water. And then, of course, these raging Santa Ana winds, these ember storms are just out of control. It's just an untenable situation.
Perfect, I guess you could say, recipe, right?
Yeah. And the lack of water in the Palisades.
It's unbelievable. I know some of this new information we're getting is truly unbelievable. And I feel, and I know you guys feel the same way, we're bringing all the information we can, trying to help people as much as we can, but there's this feeling of helplessness at the same time where you're just
where
like,
Gigi is in the Palisades.
what can you really do?
Have no water.
And there's so many people out there. There's this human element of people who have lost their homes and their memories and pictures and just so much. And we just empathize very deeply, but there's really no words to even, offer any comfort to folks out there. But we are certainly with you and thinking of you.
And when you're looking at conditions like this, when you're talking 60 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, fires can double in size, which is exactly what we saw with the Eaton fire.
Yeah, people have been wondering the cause of the fire. I have no idea. Though last night when we were streaming, there was this clip that I was tagged in, where it seems like this person is saying, this firefighter captain is saying that there was a very small fire in the backyard.
Red tape and forced reliance on government is a huge issue here. There was a time in society when people would together and cleared brush, etc., but that wouldn't be allowed now.
Oh, really? Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot of the times. Red tape and forced reliance on the government is a huge issue here. There was a time in society when people would come together and clear the brush. Yeah. There was this weird ass clip. Thank you so much. I can prep for the 10. There was this clip. I don't know if this is being taken out of context. I mean, but listen.
They asked for all water dropping resources, and they asked for additional resources. So right now we've had this has jumped from a very small fire in the backyard. It ran up a ridge. Once it hit that ridge, we had these erratic winds, and it just had an ember cast that just pushed this throughout all of Palisades. They asked for all water dropping resources, and they asked for additional resources. So right now we've had this has jumped from a very small fire in the backyard. It ran up a ridge. Once it hit that ridge, we had these erratic winds, and it just had an ember cast that just pushed this throughout all of Palisades.
So that was the only thing I've heard so far as to maybe what might have been the source. And I guess that's all it takes. Folks say we have idiots who actually have fires and bad winds. That's all it takes. I saw a video of a homeless guy, nowhere near the fires, but he had a fire going in the middle of I don't know where he was at. I think it was downtown LA. And this insurance thing is gaining more traction. This whole thing of we just played this earlier. Woman says her parents' fire insurance got canceled shortly before the fires ripped through Southern California. And not only that, I mean, she was saying that they've had insurance for I don't know how many years or decades, and all of a sudden they cut the insurance. I can't imagine what the insurance people have to pay out when these things happen.
I know I'm not supposed to be here, but this is my parents' home.
I know the feeling.
And they just lost, they got canceled from their fire insurance. So they're dealing with this. They're 90 years old. And
deal with this crap.
Through the state of California, because of this, they're 90 years old. That they've lived in this house for 75 years, and they've had the same insurance.
It's weird.
And these insurance people decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance. So thank you, California insurance companies, supporting residents who pay taxes and love California. And they wonder why people leave California.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad he posted the full clip. I can't imagine how frustrating that is. And just insurance in general. They fuck people all the time. Fuck people, yo. And I don't know, I wonder in all those years, the 75 years that the parents have been there, if they ever really had to use it. But the one time you really need it, after you've been dedicated your life and paying God knows how many thousands and thousands of dollars, they pull the rug from under you. Deal with it on your own.
And foremost, you did get your parents out safely.
I live in Sierra Madre. My parents are in Sierra Madre, but...
And now you know that it is under evacuation as well, north of Sierra Madre Boulevard.
Yeah, I snuck here. You know, there's a will, there's a way.
She said I snuck here.
Probably shouldn't do it, but you know what? Under the circumstances, send me to jail. That's fine.
It is unbelievable what's happening here to the neighbors. Your parents' house is still standing. You had a hose. You're doing what you
really?
can.
I mean, I have a hose. It doesn't compare to these beloved neighbors that I've known. I was born and raised in this house, and I live in Sierra Madre, and I'm now 62 years old. And this is the house I was born and raised in, and I've never moved out of Pasadena, Sierra Madre, Hastings Ranch. You know,
well, let me tell you, it does help for people who aren't here to know what's happening. So you sharing that story, it does a service. I came up to you without even asking your name.
My name is Lynn Levin Guzman. This is the Levin household. I'm a nurse for over 30 years in emergency room. I deal with fire all the time and firefighters. And this situation here, luckily, people got out because those are my patients. The people who are not so fortunate to get out.
As you mentioned, let's just hope everyone's okay. Lynn, I'm going to let you get back to it. And for you taking the time, we thank you. To your parents, we wish them the best as well. As I send it back to you, there's Lynn again with the hose. She's using her garden hose, getting the awnings, getting the roof of the house, doing anything she can. We say that as the embers are blowing directly on us here in the Upper Hastings Ranch community. She's here, her brother's here, and you know that there's let me tell you, the majority of the homes in this community are still standing. We drove past many on the lower side that are still standing, but the night is young.
Absolutely. I'd like to hear an update from that situation. And by the way, the two guys and the dog, I heard supposedly they made it out fine. That's what I heard. Some of the comments too, real quick. I mean, I'm seeing people talk about the insurance stuff that they've dealt with homes. I saw somebody just mention something about flooding in Florida. They pulled out. Deborah said, I had State Farm renters insurance from the time I was 17 and 0 claims for 10 plus years, and had a flood, which they paid $5,000 for water remediation, and immediately dropped me after that. Damn. These people are cold-blooded. How the hell do you have brush fire in the middle of winter? The brush is so dry. I can't remember the last time it rained. Oh, it's really dry out there too, right?
Had no water. They don't know. They're sent on their assignment. They don't know the logistics of what's happening, but they do know the challenges, and the challenges.
I feel like North Cali probably snows, right? North Cali. This is Southern California.
It is devastating, and you can bet this is going to be the center of a lot of investigative work as to why certain blocks had no water. Are there broken pipes? Is there a defective water system? Did the water just run out? What happened on these blocks? And it's just house after house. On Toyopa Drive, we saw entire blocks of homes burnt to the ground. The damage is catastrophic. The damage is devastating. And again, you are looking live at the public library. The Palisades branch of the public library will be a total loss. It is just collapsing. We were standing in front of it as the building was just collapsing right in front of us. No firefighters there. They're trying to save structures that they can save, and the ones that are a total loss, they're just leaving to burn right now. It is just absolutely devastating to watch, and that is the latest. Again, if you're just joining us here on Good Day LA, we're covering the Palisades fire along with the other major fires in Southern California that are burning right now. Tens of thousands of people remain under a mandatory evacuation order.
They should be back burning every year and making fire breaks. We used to do it here in Australia during winter. Greenies stopped it all.
Oh. IMC McGinnis says they should bring back burning every year and making fire breaks. We used to do that here in Australia during winter. Greenies stopped it all. How does that work? Burning. Controlled burning. Burning to prevent fires refers to a practice called prescribed burning or controlled burning, where a small intentional fire is set under carefully monitored conditions to reduce the amount of flammable vegetation in the area, thereby lowering the risk of large destructive wildfires occurring later on. Oh, that's interesting. Essentially, a controlled burn removes fuel that could feed a bigger fire.
I don't know, photographer Tony Butita, come with me once again, and you can see the fire here on Amaral. It continues to smolder. There are open gas lines, of course, and the fire continues to burn. There are no firefighters on this street because the street is almost a total loss. Tony, if you can come with me once again. It's very difficult, challenging. The wind is very rough in this neighborhood. Come, I just want to show folks at home how the fire just hopscotched this block. This house here is a total loss. You can't see it on the camera right now. We're going to try to move. This house here, right next to that house, that two-story house, is a total loss. And on the other side of that collapsed tree, that house is burned to the ground too, and yet this house remains standing. It's wonderful for that family, but I'm sure they're going to feel horrible to see the loss on their block and all of their neighbors that have lost their homes.
It's almost like survivor's remorse, right? It's this mix of, my goodness, thank God my home.
Absolutely. Also, why?
But then everybody around, all the other homes around you have just burned to the ground. I have not seen anything like this, Gigi. And then you mentioned that water was a big issue in that neighborhood. The scene that you showed us earlier where the firefighters were just standing there with their hoses in their hand and no water coming out and just watching helplessly as these homes burn. That scene is going to be emblematic of the questions that get asked after this is all said and done.
Standing there with the hose and no water coming out.
And I can tell you, those firefighters were heartbroken. Obviously, they have families, they have homes too. Yes. And watching a house burn is not what they ever want to see. It hurts them as much as it's hurting all of us to see this. But they just didn't have any water, and they were pulling water.
So they have this 3D map. I mentioned this last night, and especially if you're in Cali, you should know the website. It's fire.ca.gov. And so, because it'll tell you live, I guess, like where the fires are at or where it's spreading to. I don't know how much of a delay there is, but you can see here that there's the Palisades fire. Says here almost 3,000 acres. Woodley fire that's going on apparently. And then also you have Eaton fire that's actually grown 2,227 acres. So it kind of gives you like helps you keep kind of track of what's going on. It says 0 fatalities, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out after, right? Because they probably haven't been able to get into check everything.
The trees that have come crashing down. There are burnt cars that were parked on the street absolutely everywhere. It is very hard to see up close and personal.
Oh my gosh, Gigi, thank you very much for being out there. Please stay safe, and we'll check in with you in just a little bit.
Grateful for your reporting.
Thank you.
I know that Maria, you've been watching all this unfold right now.
Yes,
it's close to home for you.
It does.
It does. We've gone to that parish so many times. We were just there last week at Christmas time. We were walking around that beautiful neighborhood because of all the beautiful Christmas decorations that everyone had. You know, people work hard to get their home, their dream home, and it's in this beautiful neighborhood, and it's gone. It's hard to see family members home. More than likely gone. I've asked Gigi to maybe just walk around the corner there, but I'm imagining, looking at the scene, that it is not going to be there. Listen, the danger's not over. You saw the wind and how strong it was there where Gigi's at in the Pacific Palisades. The embers that are still getting caught up in these wind gusts. That home may be standing right now, but these embers, as they're blowing around in these winds, can still cause more fires. So we want you to keep that in mind, and of course we want Gigi and the crew and Tony to stay safe in the meantime. But looking at our current wind situation here, these are sustained winds in and around the Santa Monica Mountains, down below where they're at in the Pacific Palisades, out towards Malibu. Look at these winds, 25, 24 mile per hour winds. Wind gusts are going to be at least double that, 40 to 50 miles per hour. And some of the higher topped areas, some of the foothill communities in the mountains, we're talking about wind gusts nearing 60 to 80 miles an hour.
Fire. I went through the 2019 Christmas. I nearly lost everything. We had a DC-10 and helicopters dumping retardant. That saved us. The 2 CL-125s aren't enough.
Ooh. Yeah, I can't imagine for those families. I mean, California has like a big problem on their hands now. All these people that are displaced, they already have a homeless population issue. Now they have to find some way to help these people to get back on their feet or provide housing. How's that going to work out?
That fine particulate matter that you cannot see. Even if you're not near the fires, that gets caught up in the winds, and fires create their own weather and atmospheric conditions, and so the winds can be erratic, and it's blowing a lot of that stuff even to where you are, where the fires may not be even near you. So we encourage you to stay indoors, close your windows, and if you have to get in your car and go.
So Elon made a post an hour ago too. He said these fires are easily avoidable, but nonsense regulations in California prevent action being taken. So year after year, homes are burnt down and more people die. You know, they've said in the past here, this is something that I saw referenced yesterday, some 2019 posts from Trump, where he had talked about that they're doing a horrible job with forest management. And just like IMC McGinnis said, Trump said the federal government should not be paying emergency wildfire aid while California is refusing to do controlled burns and clean up the forest in the name of environmentalism. So whether you like the guy or not, Trump, it seems like maybe that would be something that'd be beneficial, because this does just keep happening over and over and over, and it seems like it's getting worse. And what a horrible combination of the winds. Is that what happened in Maui too? It was like the winds and stuff that made it even worse, and unpreparedness. Wow. Rick Caruso, billionaire real estate developer, called into LA local news. This is like a third world country. There is no water coming out of the fire hydrants. LA Mayor Karen Bass is on a foreign trip to Ghana.
My heart goes out, obviously, to the people with their homes, and I'm watching the small businesses around us go up in flames. This is people's livelihoods, so it's devastating. But what is most concerning to me is our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this. There's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country, and we've got a city that's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here. And we've got a lot of tough questions that we need to ask the mayor and the city council and our representatives and the county representatives, why didn't you work to mitigate this? What was your brush mitigation program? I heard you earlier talking about it's been dry because there hasn't been rain. That's not the biggest problem here. The brush up in these hills that are controlled by the city and the county, I would bet you that if they haven't been handled, mitigated, pruned, removed for probably 30 or 40 years. This was a disaster waiting to happen. And what's predictable is preventable. And who's paying the price are all of these people in their homes and their businesses tonight. Now, we'll rebuild, but the majority of this community is going to have a tough time rebuilding their lives.
All right, let me see if we can get another. Let's see what ABC is showing.
Homes here on Star Touch Drive are a complete loss, which is absolutely heartbreaking. Again, I live in the city. I don't live in Upper Hastings, but it hits you. It feels like an extended part of the community.
Wow. Mark, thank you so much. And it really illuminates the unpredictability of fire behavior in that interview that you did with the gentleman who said that he saw the homes burning and then his parents' home, just one in all of those homes, is still standing. That tends to happen, and you just don't know why, but that's how fires burn. You just never know. Thank you so much for that, Mark. We appreciate it. You can see the sun coming up there. Let's go on over to Tony Cabrera. He's on PCH in Malibu with homes burning behind him. Tony.
Oh, yeah, Leslie, we have homes on one side, businesses on the other. Let me step out of the way. You can see on the right side here, that's a couple of businesses. There's some residential mixed in here as well, but it has just been raging, these flames there. And look at all that dark, that black smoke that's just billowing up into the air and then moving towards the ocean. You cross the street, and this is where we have several homes. Every one of them has burned all the way down, and you can see they're still smoldering. You can see these garage structures that are still in place, but everything else has come on down. And on the other side of these homes, that's the ocean there. So this is oceanside property up and down PCH that has come down.
PCH,
and we've continued to move on through this whole area. We started in the Pacific Palisades. We went up Sunset, and we went towards the Palisades Village, the downtown area. On our way up there, we saw several homes. Each corner we turned, there were several homes burning, handfuls of homes, and then we saw the flames jumping from one structure to the next. Embers rushing across the street to trees,
I know you love
to
aircraft.
vehicles.
Google RFSDC-10 and watch her dump retardant. She's what saved us. I have video somewhere I'll send you. Good night.
Okay, I'm gonna
it's
look it up.
2:30 a.m.
All right, have a good night. Thank you so much for the super chats and sharing your story. Stay safe. I know you're out in Australia, but yeah, have a good night. Rest up.
The Franklin fire. Now Malibu dealing with this fire that started in the Pacific Palisades. And as you see the winds, they are coming out of the northeast and pushing flames other directions. Up the hill, you can see some flames up there too. I don't know if you can tell because the smoke at this point is so dense.
Damn, this
and
thing
is
is
so
huge.
thick. I just received an emergency alert on my phone right now saying an evacuation warning has been issued for Malibu west of Las Flores Canyon Road. Remain vigilant of any threats and be ready to evacuate. Gather loved ones, pets, and supplies. Continue to monitor local weather news and the alerts for more information. So we've been getting those alerts all morning long, actually. Every hour, I feel like I've gotten an alert on my phone telling me about some type of evacuation as the fire continues to move from one area to the other and the winds not stopping. Yes, there's these little lulls that we get, but they've continued. And as we've been right here over the PCH area here in Malibu, we've had some really strong gusts in the last 30 minutes or so as they are just going through PCH and bringing these flames from one side of the street to the other. It's an eerie view, Leslie, as we're standing right here in the middle, seeing flames on both sides of PCH, and then coming from the Pacific Palisades and seeing it the same situation, even worse.
It is just so devastating to see all of our beloved communities going up in flames like this. We've been using the word unprecedented all morning long. Really no better way to describe it. We go from Tony in Pacific Palisades covering that fire to Jaysha Patel, who is now in Altadena, covering the Eaton fire that's been burning since last night. Jaysha.
Yeah, Rachel, it's I feel very emotional watching these people.
Catherine's word.
Sorry, it's just emotional to see the desperation of the people that live in this neighborhood. I mean, you can see this woman with a bucket of water just trying to make sure that her home doesn't catch on flames. Their roof is starting to catch on fire. Someone in that household was on the roof, and we were yelling, "Sir, please get off the roof, please get off the roof." They're trying to do everything they can to protect their home because, as you can see, right next door, this home is just completely engulfed in flames. And it is just really bizarre and heartbreaking to see some homes completely standing and fine, and then homes just across the street or a couple houses down just completely on fire. To see these homes, it's absolutely heartbreaking. We're on Meadowbrook right now in Altadena, and if we come out onto the street, you can see people trying to protect some of their most expensive prized possessions. We have a beautiful Corvette here that's been parked on the sidewalk. You can see the house though, where it's parked outside of, also on fire. You can see a man also at the house next door. He's trying to pour water on his home, trying to prevent his home from catching on fire.
That is crazy.
We have houses down here that are completely fine, but people are outside really worried that these embers and this fire is going to jump and possibly catch their homes on fire. I spoke to someone earlier. He's walked away to check, I believe, on his sister. He said that he's pretty frustrated because obviously firefighters are not here, but it is impossible, I mean, for firefighters to be in every single street of this neighborhood here. Earlier, we were a couple minutes away and there was home after home after home on fire. So they're really just trying to get a hold on this. It is quite literally almost impossible. Around the corner, Altadena Golf Course, the clubhouse, almost completely burned to the ground. On our way here, we saw the flames shooting up on the roof there. Behind me, you can see people observing the neighborhood here out on the lawn, people on the phone trying to call people, scrambling, people packing up cars, packing up their valuables. And, this is really why we tell people to have an evacuation plan. Make sure you have your documents with you. Make sure that you know where you're going, what you're doing, and that you, if you need to leave at the drop of a hat, that you are prepared. Because as you can see here, some people just unexpectedly, their homes have just completely caught on fire.
So 51 minutes ago, it says, "We can't even use aircraft to dump water," Los Angeles City Council president says. Even for a region accustomed to wildfire, the blazes tearing through Southern California are as bad as we've ever seen. Unfortunately, global warming and lots of other factors have made it so that we have big fires every year, he said Wednesday morning. Having 3 big fires at once in a situation where we can't even use aircraft to dump water on fires is unprecedented. Ferocious winds have significantly hindered firefighters working around the clock to battle the flames. Wind gusts are expected to reach 54 miles per hour in Los Angeles and 60 in the Pacific Palisades on Wednesday. Okay. Let me show you real quick a DC-10. This looks pretty cool.
As mentioned, they have been fighting this thing mostly from the air today. DC-10.
This is an old video, but I just wanted to see what it looks like.
Fighting this thing mostly from the air today. DC-10 dropping the FOS check. In fact, Steve Little, the man that you just heard from, he told us.
Wow, look at how it cleared the mountain.
Blanketed by the.
I can't imagine what it must feel like sitting in that plane. That's the way it rocks back and forth.
From the air today. DC-10 dropping the FOS check. In fact, Steve Little, the man that you just heard from, he told.
Flying that thing like a fighter jet.
He got blanketed by the FOS check, hadn't washed it off yet, but a new experience for him. And now we're going to show you some more.
3 engines too, 2 on the wings, and it looks like maybe 1 on the tail.
He told us he got blanketed by the FOS check, hadn't washed it off yet, but a new experience.
Wow. Was there something else? I think that was it. As far as updates though, they're saying there's 3 fires, but maybe even more, because I'm seeing a couple other small ones that it seems like have started. Where's that article? Here it is. Okay. Oh, so they got water problems. Smoke plume from the Palisades fire stretches more than 100 miles into the Pacific Ocean. Wow. The satellite imagery. Can I download this? Yeah, here's a GIF image. Let me show you. They're saying plumes of smoke flying out into the ocean, which maybe that's better than flying into the land, into the city, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's it right there. Satellite imagery. You can see it on the satellite. Pretty wild. Universal Studios shut down park due to wind and fire conditions. This was about 20-something, 30, 40 minutes ago. Palisades is almost 3,000 acres. Eaton Fire is 2,227. There's a Hearst Fire, that's 505 acres. There's the Woodley Fire, 75 acres. And there's a Tyler Fire, Riverside County, 15 acres. Lord almighty. Wow. They said that fire officials are in a losing battle with intense winds spurring the flames. All the major fires threatening the county are 0% contained. Zero. This was 40-something, 50 minutes ago, an hour ago, and have burned more than 5,500 acres collectively. Evacuations and damage. Over 50,000 people in Los Angeles were ordered to evacuate. Wow. Let me see if there's any other new updates. According to a storm chaser, nothing we can do now. Storm chaser and friend evacuate after trying to save home from Palisades fire. So there's a video. Let's play this video. Is this maybe this is what we saw last night. Let me put it on the screen for you guys. Storm chaser.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's different.
Oh. All right, dude.
Oh, that's what we saw last night.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry. We tried our best. Yeah, and when this tree falls, it's over.
Yeah, you see all the embers and stuff?
Sorry, bro. Gotta get out of here. Oh, shit. Holy shit. Did that tree fall with it? No. Just let it burn, and God protect this house in the name of Jesus. Protect this neighborhood, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. This tree is gonna kill us. All right, there's nothing we can do now, bro.
Yeah, you see the wind carrying all the embers.
On the fires that are blazing through Southern California. We have unfortunate conditions, I know, on the way. I will say that there is some good news, though. While we have a red flag warning that'll continue through Thursday, again, Thursday, the wind speeds are going way down. 40-mile-per-hour winds down to 25. We have a break Friday, Saturday. That's some good news. On Sunday, unfortunately, we're back to Santa Ana, but this one is considered a weak one, back to 25-mile-per-hour winds. And then the next one beyond that, another Santa Ana, back to back here. On Tuesday, we have another one, but this one is a moderate Santa Ana, 30-mile-per-hour wind gust. And again, what we're dealing with at the moment, we would consider extreme.
Hypnotize, if you want, I'll send you the number if you want to call in and talk a bit. If you want to email me, ikidmail@gmail.com.
So again, we're still going to keep this red flag warning in place through Thursday, and then back to calmer conditions Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we move forward towards areas closer to the coastline, 67 overnight lows into the 40s. And then we're back to the 60s by the time we're heading into the weekend, but low 60s, chilly nights and more winds on the way. And the extended forecast for you, I unfortunately don't have any rain in the forecast, not the 7-day, not the 10.
I was tagged, and it's even bigger than the DC-10. Super tanker drops fire retardant over Chico, California.
Whoa, right. Oh.
Dang, look at that. Oh, that's 4 engines, I think.
Oh, and it's still dumping.
Wow.
Look at that.
on top of it, and hopefully we'll see a lot of progress at that point. Leslie Lopez, thank you so much for that. We have been just seeing these images of desperation and tragedy all over Southern California as these fires continue to burn out of control. We're going to go back to Jaysha Patel. She's live at the Eaton fire, and last we saw you, Jaysha, a woman was trying to with a pot trying to put out the flames on her home. What do you have for us now?
Yeah, Leslie, just a couple minutes ago, just emotional seeing the desperation these people have to save their homes. You can see here, obviously this home is completely on fire behind me, but the man next door doing everything in his power to make sure that fire does not spread. I've been seeing more and more neighbors show up in this community to try to help people, to try to save their homes. If we pan the camera around, people have come out onto the streets to try to fill buckets. We tried to help these people out by moving this trash can, which is currently melting and on fire right now. Anything that everyone can do to try to prevent anything from catching on fire so it can spread. This is Doug. He lives down the street. Doug.
Hi, how are you?
Obviously, I'm so sorry that you guys are scrambling. I saw you grab a hose. You were trying to help fill buckets.
Yeah, I mean, so the homes they're lighting on fire one to the other, and there's no fire department here. So the residents are trying to put their adjacent homes out to keep them from catching. So we're trying to splice together garden hoses and trying to get to the alleys between the houses to stop the fires from spreading. Seems like a lot of the homes here, they're burning because of embers that have landed in bushes and are lighting. So we're on Meadowbrook right now, just west of Allen Avenue in Altadena. And it looks like there's a lot of homes in this neighborhood currently on fire, and there's no response right now.
Have you seen anything like this ever before?
Yes, because I'm from Santa Rosa. So back in 2018, the Tubbs fire destroyed 10% of my hometown. And so that was my parents evacuating. And then last night, it was our turn and we evacuated to them. So typically for the last 10 years, this kind of event has been happening in Northern California. And we've gotten really lucky with the rains the last couple of years. But this year we knew with zero rain that one big windstorm and we were toast. And last night it happened.
And I saw you kind of walking around the neighborhood earlier, and then when you came here, that's where we started chatting. What have you seen around in this community so far?
So it looks like, I saw this particular fire start last night just after 6 p.m. It started in Eaton Canyon, just north of Altadena Drive. It looked like it came from under a power line, but I can't confirm that. I just saw where the fire was burning, and then everybody evacuated. And it seems like what has happened is it's burned across the San Gabriel Mountains behind Altadena in both directions, and then it's entered the neighborhoods here to the west of Allen, and then it entered neighborhoods to the east of Altadena Drive, and so it's now burning south into Pasadena along prongs. So there appears to be neighborhoods in the middle that are fine, but there's prongs burning south down into Pasadena.
What goes through your head when you see people in your community so desperate to try to extinguish these flames and the fire? You see them running around, you're trying to help. What goes through your head?
Well, I mean, it's really sad that there's just no response at the moment because the fire departments are all out. There's 1,000 homes burning right now. So right now it's, neighbors just trying to save their own house, and it's up to them. Try to save your neighbor's house. There's really not much else that you can do, and it's just property at this point. But when you see your next door neighbor's house on fire, it's really hard not to try to help out. I mean, it's really a pity if you could save a house and not have it catch the next one on fire. So yeah, we just hope that the air crews get in here and the fire department's able to spend a few resources extinguishing the spot fires in this neighborhood.
Are you ready to evacuate if you need to? Do you have your car loaded? Do you have all your valuables?
Yeah, so we were the first people to evacuate from this Eaton Canyon fire because the fire started just to the north of our house. So we saw the flames at 6 p.m. and we were out of the house by 7 p.m. with most of our neighborhood, which is the neighborhood just to the west of us. And so we thought it was going to jump the road and come into our neighborhood immediately last night. So we all evacuated by 7:30 last night. And then overnight, we saw everybody else from this entire area evacuating all the way down into Pasadena. So we're already out.
Did you expect this fire to come so close to these homes and your community?
We 100% did. After we saw the Tubbs fire, which is in Santa Rosa in 2018, that fire jumped the 7-lane 101 freeway and burned an entire neighborhood on the other side of the freeway. So we know in these windstorm events where you've got winds over 60 miles an hour that the fires just move in the trees, and the fires can move miles away from where the front is. So there's no fire front. It's just the fire jumping from one house to another driven by the wind and the embers. So yes, we unfortunately have seen this before, and we knew this was always going to be a possibility. And it's just unfortunate today is the day where it happened.
Well, thank you so much for joining me right now.
Pleasure.
Obviously, I know there's a lot going on. I know you have to, make sure you're.
So people are upset. People are criticizing the mayor because she's out in Ghana. Furious Los Angelinos have blasted their mayor for traveling to Ghana while the city burns, despite having ample warning about the critical weather conditions in the days before. Mayor Karen Bass flew out to attend the West African country's presidential inauguration on Tuesday, after meteorologists warned that a recipe for fire was on track to strike LA. To make matters worse, a litany of failures by LA city officials appear to be fueling the out-of-control blaze, which has forced tens of thousands of people to flee some of the city's ritziest enclaves as homes and businesses burn to the ground. Residents have criticized officials for failing to cut off electricity power lines, as shocking footage shows how energized cables have fueled fire. Local people have also blasted Los Angeles County for allegedly refusing to refill the reservoirs, meaning fire hydrants are running dry in some areas and leaving firefighters hobbled in their attempts to extinguish the flames. Shocking footage from the Pacific Palisades shows sparks firing in all directions as power lines come down amid the smoke-filled wind. Wow. But, hey, she took a picture, though. She got a nice picture, Karen Bass. She got a picture. How nice. That is nice. But they say she's on her way back, supposedly, now. She better take a quick flight, special flight back. I think they have some video, maybe, of the sparks. Let's take a look at that.
But their hands have been tied, and they can't fight a fire without water and the resources that are needed. Everybody knew these. You got to have water.
Here it is.
We heard a very loud boom, and it was a tree coming down, and it hit those power lines.
There you go.
Wow. Get away from them. This is a very, very dangerous situation the firefighters are dealing with. And there was actually an LAPD cruiser going through just as that tree came down, barely missed hitting it. And I want to pan this way and show you, we're actually at Antioch and Sylmar, and there are buildings here on fire. And these palm trees really underscore the danger. They look beautiful, but when you get those rains of ember, this is what happens. A lot of these trees catch fire very easily. The wind also knocks down some of the palm fronds, and that catches fire, everything, or lights on fire, everything beneath it. In fact, if we pan down, you can see there are some palm fronds on fire there on the sidewalk. And still, we're seeing people evacuating. Again, the LAPD just came through. They were on the megaphone. They were telling people to leave, and we're hearing booms. I don't know if you just heard that all around us. It appears to be
There's a lot of people, Transformers blown up. So there's a lot of people upset, not happy, obviously.
Unfortunately. And just a little bit ago, we ran into a man who owned one of the trailers, the mobile homes here, and he was on his bike. He came up, and that is when he found out that his home was completely gone. And we spoke to him about how devastating this was, and now he has to break that news to his wife and his little girl that their home is gone. But he had such a positive attitude that I loved, because he says we can rebuild this, and it's always people first over structures and property. So that's a fantastic mindset, I believe. But it is just incredibly heartbreaking to see all of this. I want to bring you over here as well to give you a closer look at this car that is completely burnt as well. The tires have been, and it's just scenes like this that we're seeing all across Pacific Palisades. We have been moving from spot to spot to see what it is like at different areas, and we're seeing a lot of the same, unfortunately. So far, personally, I've seen about 10 homes that have been completely leveled, and that's not including all the homes here in this mobile park as well. So I don't know if you just noticed that, but it just got a bit darker here with more smoke moving into the area just in the past few seconds or so. So it's getting really hazy. The wind is also starting to pick up. Also, I want to mention like the hills are completely charred and blackened because the flames were really moving through this area, not just on the low-lying area here. So
I didn't know that. Let me see this in the chat. Let me scroll up real quick. Where was that at? Damn, I missed it. Hold on, I can look it up here. Okay, thank you, Gone with the Gale. Gone with Gales. The Gale says Mayor Karen Bass cut $17 million from LFAD budget. I'm gonna have to look that up. Oof. And check this out. Apparently, there's audio of the moment when firefighters battling the flames realized they're out of water.
Operations from Zulu. Zulu, go ahead. Very aware of all those homes. 1075 is working that area. We have no water. We're doing the best we can up there. We're making sure people are out of the way. And until we get water tenders or the water system
cut out. Is that it? Weird. Cut out. Maybe that was it. Okay. Crazy. And I do see an article by Breitbart that says Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass cut fire budget nearly 20 million. Wow. That's what people are
Photographer
pissed.
was getting out of the news van. That door just swung open. The winds on PCH going towards the west, and it was it broke the door a little bit. So that's just an example of how strong these winds are. And we're pretty far here from Pacific Palisades and where the fire originated over there.
I got your
we
email.
were there earlier. We
get you
drove through Sunset all the way into the village. We saw so many homes that were just burnt down, and it was just incredible to see it and heartbreaking to see it. And you can't imagine something like this happening with it just being home after home after home. And the firefighters, right? It's limited resources. They're trying their best. They're everywhere, but there are so many homes, businesses, churches, even schools that are catching on fire with this. And here, now that we've made our way through PCH, through into the Malibu area, okay, now we're seeing this driver, maybe they're trying to look to see their property here. There aren't many people that we've seen out and about from Pacific Palisades here towards Malibu. Look at the left side, though. You can see that there's home after home after home here. The other side of that is the ocean. And all along PCH, from Pacific Palisades here to where we are, I mean, we haven't reached the Pepperdine area, but we're close to like Dukes. If you go further towards Santa Monica on PCH here, towards the left of your screen, that's where you'll hit Dukes. But there are several homes that are just burnt all the way down here. We're seeing some of the structure from the garage and the facade on the street side of things. But out there, closer to Palisades, there's an area we were earlier that was just and there we hear an explosion. We've heard several of those noises, like a loud bang, of who knows what is going up in flames at that moment. So that's the situation here. Again, look at now even more smoke is coming on up here. And we.
All right, so there's a press conference that's supposed to be happening in a couple of minutes, like 5 or 6 minutes, with this fire thing, the Los Angeles Fire Department. So we're going to do the press conference first, and then Hypnotize, I'll call you after the press conference so you don't get interrupted. And she says she's hysterical and devastated about everything that's happening. I think I forgot what the chat said. You have family there that lives in that neighborhood. So I'm going to call you after the press conference so I don't have to rush you off after this, because the press conference or whatever, so we can do it after. And I'll keep you guys updated. If you guys could hit the like and share, I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody coming. No notifications, so thanks for everybody that was able to come through. And there's multiple fires burning concurrent together at the same time. It's a lot that they're having to deal with. And they're saying it's the Palisades neighborhoods, Pacific Palisades, Eaton fire. There was a couple of small ones, 2 other small ones that they were mentioning. For people living in wildfire-prone areas, proactively protecting their property is important. This is a guide that shows what steps you can take to protect your home. It doesn't really say much. I guess he's saying, let me show you this picture. This is wild, though, to see everything that's happening. Let me show you this picture, I guess. Oh, he says clear the yard. Maybe that means close the windows, roof vents, trim your trees. Okay. Santa Ana winds gust to 100 miles per hour as wildfires spread. 100! Wow.
Can I ask you real quick? You came home. How are you doing? I know you're panicking a bit.
We're just trying to do what we can do, but we want to get out of here because
clearly you left and then you just decided to come back.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know these folks across the way?
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull my car to see.
Okay. Best to you and your husband. Okay. They're trying to get out. This is their home right here on the corner of Sinaloa and La Paz. Say it again.
Can you get the fire truck?
She's asking for the fire trucks. That's what I was saying, is that there's no fire engines down here. Resources spread incredibly thin. They pulled up as we got here and they said, oh my gosh. And they got out and they're trying to hose down the house and get some things out of the house. Clearly so many people who evacuated and maybe now just getting back in. The heat from that home is just incredible, guys. And again, no resources to assist these people. And this is a situation where the wind isn't necessarily blowing. You can tell by the smoke going straight up that if you had some firefighters, you might be able to do some good with some of these homes. And around the corner from here, if you're familiar with the area, if you want to walk with me a bit, on Sinaloa, there are numerous homes that are up in flames here on Sinaloa.
Stick says the Santa Ana wind season is September to May. Okay. Wow, look at that.
All of these homes up here, not all of them, but several, are going up in flames here on Sinaloa. So this is just southwest of Eaton Canyon. Earlier we were in Hastings Ranch, which was to the east of Eaton Canyon. So you can see how this fire really fanned out and spread out and hit multiple areas. Walk up just a bit more if you don't mind. As we get around this tree, you can see there's another home that's really starting to go up here, an old Spanish. Oh my gosh. Look back at you. Look back now. Ooh. Something popped there, and the amount of smoke is just incredible. It's really like unlike anything else we've seen. Unlike Hastings Ranch, there are a lot more community members, residents who are here watching this unfold. To be honest, Hastings Ranch was few and far between seeing any of the residents. Most of them had evacuated. I think more people here in Altadena, in this specific community, north of New York, west of Allen, many of them had not evacuated because there's just a ton of people here right now watching all of this unfold. And
I mean, you see all these people coming out to try to put the fire out. Who knows what their insurance situation is, or even the hassle, even with or without insurance, even if you have insurance, just to lose all your stuff and burn, there's some things that just can't be replaced. People are trying to stop the fire from spreading.
Your son does. Is he okay?
Well, he's on that roof.
He's on the roof of the hose. You can see a guy right back there. That's your son up there. He's on the roof over there.
Look on the house that he's opposite, that he's on the house. That's his house.
So he's helping neighbors.
He's trying to protect the neighbor's house, which will protect his house. But you can hear these explosions and stuff. These houses are on fire. That one has a gas burning. See, you can hear it. Burning gas. So
how long have you been here? Did you come to help? Did he evacuate?
I have a house up in that's probably already gone. I haven't been able to get up there. We left this morning, stayed at my sister-in-law's house, Rose, and then she got evacuated. And I came back here around 5 in the morning, and we've been trying to help. We have the hardware store in Altadena, and it's gone. It burned down.
On Mariposa?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and we have my son's house is on Santa Anita, and it's that area they won't let him. They want him to leave.
We haven't seen this in years. For the fact,
never seen this. I've been here in 40 years. I saw the Altadena fire back in '94. Went across and burned a number of houses, but this is unusual. If you notice, you got pockets of houses on fire. Some are fine. Other ones are on fire. They jump to the next one, then they skip one.
And we know firefighters are working.
Yeah,
we know they're working, but the resources are thin, but they're just not here.
Right. It would be nice if we had somebody who could say, okay, let's try and save this house from spreading it to another house.
Right,
you know? So, yeah. It's a crazy situation. So.
Did you experience the worst of the wind when it sounded like a freight train coming through? Because we're not experiencing that right now.
That was part of the problem yesterday and the day before, is we had these 60-mile-an-hour gusts, and you get a fire up in the Eden Canyon and up in the hills there. The fire's just going to be fueled by the wind, and there's no way of controlling it.
You said the hardware shop is yours?
Yeah, we had the Altadena hardware store on Mariposa, and my employee was there. Rob was supposed to open it up, and he said it's burned down.
How much else? Because I know there's neighboring businesses right there. It's a little business district.
Yeah, he didn't tell me what else is going, but I'm sure that whole Mariposa little strip of stores, restaurants and stuff. But I don't know. We can't get over there.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to officials right now. I appreciate it. Best to you. We'll send it back to you.
Our first speaker is a press conference coming up. Board of Supervisors Chair.
Let's listen into that.
Catherine Barger.
Thank you. I'm going to make my comments short because I know you want to hear from our fire chief and the people that are really have the information in real time. But let me just say, this is a dynamic situation. We've got fires throughout the entire county, which are spreading our resources very short. One of the things that people ask me is, what do you want to convey to the public? And that is, heed the advice of first responders. When they ask you to evacuate, evacuate. This is not a drill. This is in real time. So I want to thank the city of Pasadena, who's opened up the Pasadena Convention Center for those impacted by the Eaton Canyon fire. I also want to acknowledge our faith-based partners. All Saints has opened up their church for those that are evacuating the Pasadena area. But again, it's important for us to recognize that while the firefighters are there to protect structures, life is first and foremost frontline. We need to make sure that people heed the advice of our first responders. With that, I'm going to introduce our LA County Fire Chief, Anthony Maroney, to give you an update on what is going on. But I just want to thank Chief Maroney as well as Chief Crowley for the work that they are doing to make sure that our first responders have all the resources necessary. Chief Maroney.
So good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Barger. My name is Anthony Maroney. I am the County of Los Angeles Fire Chief, and I'm also the Region 1 Coordinator for Fire and Rescue Resources. I'm going to be giving an update on the Palisades fire in addition to the Eaton fire, although I am aware that we have 4 large fires burning in LA County at this time. The Palisades fire is located in both LA City and LA County. We are in unified command with the City of Los Angeles Fire Department in addition to CAL FIRE. We have well over 5,000 acres that have burned, and the fire is growing. We have no percentage of containment. We have an estimated 1,000 structures destroyed, and also no reported fatalities, and a high number of significant injuries to residents who did not evacuate, in addition to first responders who are on the fire line. We have over 1,000 personnel assigned, and the cause of the fire is unknown. However, it is under investigation.
They're saying unknown.
For the Eaton fire, it is located in both the Angeles National Forest, the Altadena area of LA County, and Pasadena. LA County is in unified command with both the Angeles National Forest and the Pasadena Fire Department. We have over 2,000 acres burning at this time, and the fire continues to grow with 0% containment.
0% containment.
Over 500 personnel assigned, and unfortunately, we have 2 reported fatalities to civilians. Unknown cause at this time, and we do have a number of significant injuries. We have over 100 structures destroyed, and the cause of the fire is unknown and under investigation. I will ask that LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley update you on the Hearst fire after I am finished with my remarks. The LA County Fire Department operational area consists of 29 separate fire departments in LA County, and all of those fire departments are at drawdown with no fire apparatus or additional personnel to spare. As the Region 1 coordinator, I have requested mutual aid from the 5 counties of Orange, Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. Additionally, last night, I contacted the State Office of Emergency Services and requested 50 engine strike teams. 50 engine strike teams is composed of 250 fire engines and over 1,000 personnel. We have also requested resources from out of state, as well as Northern California. Thank you to the first responders from Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State that are already on the road coming to LA County to assist. Lastly, the National Weather Service has predicted a continued red flag weather event with strong winds and low humidities, placing all residents of Los Angeles County in danger. To all of our viewers, please prioritize your safety as well as the well-being of those around you as we come together to continue to get through this widespread disaster. Los Angeles County firefighters will remain on the front line until we reach full containment, and we ask that you keep all of Los Angeles County in your thoughts and prayers. I would now like to invite up Los Angeles City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley to give her briefing. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen Crowley, Los Angeles City Fire Department Fire Chief. I'd like to start with just a moment, if we could, of gratitude. A moment of gratitude for our first responders, our boots on the ground that are battling this intense and multiple jurisdiction and number of fires. So gratitude to those who are doing the work since yesterday through the night. And like Chief Maroney said, we're going to continue to work hard to ensure that we save people, lives, and property. With that, I'll be touching on a couple major points. With the Pacific Palisades fire, we know that it continues to demand a significant amount of resources and attention. A second major brush fire, now referred to as the Hearst Fire, has erupted in the Sylmar area of Los Angeles. Now, together, these fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits. The Los Angeles City Fire Department is battling these two major fires while also maintaining, I want to focus on this as well, 911 services for the city's approximate 4 million residents. Now, despite the severity of the conditions, our department remains fully committed to safeguarding lives and property. Next, I want to focus on what we've done over the last 24 hours. And with that, even within the city of Los Angeles, with these two major brush fires, our department has responded to 3,624 911 calls for service. And to put that in perspective, our average is just under 1,500 calls in a 24-hour period. Over the last 24 hours, we've also responded to an additional 32 structure fires within the city. We've treated and transported an extensive number of medical emergencies, well extending our normal 650 transports to the local hospitals. When it comes to the Pacific Palisades fire, as Chief Maroney had said, this is over 3,000 acres at this point and continues to grow. We will confirm the exact acreage later, so we'll make sure that we also communicate that to the community and to the media. Last night, as of 1930 hours, all aircrafts were grounded due to the high winds. Aircraft are continued to be able to resume their water drops and acreage mapping today when the weather allows us to do so. A total of 3,398 civilians and 15,105 structures are in the evacuation zone. And again, the evacuation zones are the following: north of PCH, west of Kenter Avenue and San Vicente Boulevard, south of Mulholland Drive, and east of Topanga Canyon Boulevard. There are multiple evacuation centers which are supported by the American Red Cross. Injuries. Of course, there's a lot of interest in injuries. We have several firefighters and civilian injuries that have been reported, and all patients have been treated and transported to the local hospitals. Damage assessments. Chief Maroney did speak about a specific number. We are still vetting that through on the city side, so more information to come, and we will message that as soon as we can validate that. Approximately 400 LAFD firefighters have been deployed to the Palisades fire. We have many hundreds of law enforcement officers, our partner agency responders, and public works members engaged in supporting our overall operations. We are going to be transitioning to CAL FIRE this morning to manage this incident at 0800 hours. Next, I'd like to talk briefly about our Hearst fire, which is located in Sylmar. Last night at approximately 10:10 p.m., the fire erupted in the Sylmar area of Los Angeles, adjacent to the Los Angeles National Forest. The fire has rapidly expanded to over 500 acres, prompting the emergency evacuation of more than 3,000 residents. This fire is burning within the footprint of the historic Saddle Ridge fire. Now, despite the extreme winds and significant risks, and that's what we're going to be talking about from today and probably throughout the next few days, there's always that significant risk of life and property. We'll continue to focus on saving lives and protecting property. The exact anchorage at this point will be confirmed later, and we'll make sure that we communicate that to you as well. Lastly, we want to make sure that everybody understands we are absolutely not out of danger yet. With the strong winds that continue to push through the city and the county today, I would tell you, and we are all committed to our first responders, our firefighters will remain focused on protecting lives and property. The LAFD is extremely proud to stand with all of the entities behind me. Our top priority will continue to be life safety, ensuring that safe evacuation and the rescues of our residents that are in harm's way. It will continue to be our primary focus in this wind-driven fire event as it continues. Thank you for your cooperation, your support, and your vigilance. And today, we will continue to stand with our partners to protect everyone. Next up, I would like to introduce Sheriff Luna. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Next up. Oh, we moved it. Okay.
Yes, we're just moving around, having LA Unified Superintendent Alberto Carvalho, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair Barger, county and city leadership, in addition to the leadership of our first responders and our great community for the very, very important work you continue to do to protect our community, protect the assets, and first and foremost, the health and well-being and lives of members of our community. Los Angeles Unified is the second largest school district in the nation, representing the interests of 540,000 students and 75,000 committed employees. We make decisions regarding closure of schools in a very methodical and science-driven manner. So after a great deal of consultation overnight with experts looking at the data and considering the fact that air quality conditions deteriorated significantly overnight, we have made the decision to shut down a number of schools, particularly in the eastern part of our school system. I will define what those boundaries are. School communities, beginning with leadership, workforce, and families, have been informed about these areas. And as of now, those schools within the boundaries of the area that I will define are closed. This accounts for about 10% of our total schools in our district, about 100 schools out of 1,000 schools. The areas that I'm speaking about are schools located north of Manchester Boulevard, Firestone Boulevard, east of 10th Avenue, west of I-710, and south of Highway 134. Any school within that area, and that accounts again for the eastern part of our district, where the air quality met or exceeded levels that are not appropriate for employees or students to be around, are effectively shut down. We will be making decisions about what will happen in those schools going into tomorrow by 4 p.m. today based on the evolution conditions. In fact, since we made the decision to shut down those schools, air quality conditions have improved significantly despite the fact that they worsened significantly overnight. I want to speak specifically about schools surrounding the Palisades area. As of last night, we had to shut down 5 schools as a result of mandatory evacuation conditions. Those were Kinter Canyon Elementary School, Canyon Elementary School, Marquez Elementary School, Palisades Charter Elementary School, Revere Middle School, and Topanga Elementary School, in addition to Palisades High Charter High School. We have reports that Palisades High sustained significant damage as a result of the fire. We are working with state and federal entities to quickly access resources to address the issues facing this community. I want to very briefly address our workforce. We know today is not going to be a perfect day. A number of schools are shut down. However, localized conditions may make it difficult for our workforce or parents and students to access schools. Air quality conditions may vary and, in fact, may not necessarily be appropriate beyond the area where we close schools. Please use your discretion. We will utilize grace and be flexible regarding attendance and for students and employees alike. Specifically, students and employees who face chronic respiratory conditions or other health issues. We will be flexible regarding these individuals. We will provide additional updates later on today regarding conditions of schools going into tomorrow. For the schools that are open, recognizing the workforce needs of the parents of our children, beyond the bell activities,
lots of smooth
care
brains in
for
here.
children in those
That's
schools
more
will
tragic
continue
than
to
the
be
fire.
provided today.
Everyone is an authority
Today
from
is
their
not
couch.
a typical day. We
Unamused,
need
how about some
flexibility,
empathy?
patience, and
SMH.
grace, and we shall extend that to our workforce and certainly our parents and students in our community. Once again, our hearts go out to those who have been impacted, and our eternal gratitude to the first responders of our community for the fantastic, difficult work they've done over the past 24 hours. Thank you very much.
All right. When they're done with this, I have a lot of interesting clips, but we're going to call.
Morning. A lot of information to pass on, but please know this. This is a very difficult and challenging situation, but we're surrounded here by people who really care, and we're going to get through this together. That means with all of you as partners in our community. Our top priority continues to be the safety and well-being of our impacted residents, first responders, and all of the individuals involved. But understand that this is a very fluid situation, specifically in the Altadena area, and a lot of our personnel, our deputy personnel, are involved in life-saving measures as we speak now. We are working very closely with local, state, and federal agencies to provide necessary resources and support. We have been in constant communication with both our fire and law enforcement partners across LA County and beyond to ensure that all available resources that are needed are being deployed strategically and effectively, but we are prioritizing life over everything else. There are over several hundred sheriff department personnel working around the clock to evacuate residents in danger, assist with road closures, and respond to multiple missions that are given to us, and they do change periodically depending on that life mission. To ensure that everyone is going to be safe or safe as possible, additional personnel will likely be assigned to this fire as this continues to go, and you heard from our fire partners that there is no containment yet. I do want to split it up into two. I want to start talking about the Eaton fire first. Currently, there are evacuation orders in Pasadena, Altadena, and Sierra Madre. Evacuation orders, there are approximately 32,500 residents under evacuation orders and approximately 13,186 structures that we deem at risk, and that could grow. Evacuation warnings, approximately 38,600 residents are under evacuation warnings and approximately 14,342 structures are at risk. At 4 a.m. this morning, the evacuation orders did expand to parts of the city of Duarte, Monrovia, and La Cañada. And again, we continue to assess that. That's evolving. That's going to change. So I encourage you to consistently pay attention to all sources of information so you're ready to go when you are given that order, if that does come. As information's changing, even as I was driving up here, even as I'm walking up to this podium, I'm getting messages about several of our employees who have lost their homes in the last several hours. I don't know how many, because we are still gathering that information, but like we all live here in Los Angeles County, so we are impacted. So we're going to make sure that within our department, we're wrapping our arms around our employees just like we do with community members. Again, as I was coming up here, I did find out that we did have 2 fatalities in this area. I don't have any specifics. There is a lot of damage out there. We're still in the process of doing these assessments, trying to still save lives. So this information is going to change. The Altadena Sheriff's Station itself was evacuated, and it was at least limited on fire. There was some fire at the Altadena station, but we did have to clear out all of our employees out of there. I'm hearing some miraculous stories, and they're just barely coming in, of our deputies who were trying to evacuate the Altadena station, and then residents were running up from different locations around there asking them for assistance in getting them out of their structures. And from what I understand, they were barely able to get people out before these structures started burning. There's just heroic stories of what our deputies are doing out there from last night and this morning. I want to make sure people know deputies are working to assist residents who are evacuating and continuing to make evacuation notices as we're speaking. They are securing areas that are evacuated, and it's always sad when I have to say this, but part of our responsibility is to make sure that no one loots or steals from our residents, our community members who are already being impacted. And I'm sad to report we've made 2 arrests this morning for looting already. So if you are thinking about coming into any of these areas to steal from our residents, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be caught, you're going to be arrested, and you're going to be prosecuted. Don't do that. Stay out of these areas. It's only for emergency workers and people who live there. We are, at this point, unable to clearly determine the extent of damage at this point because the conditions are rapidly evolving and the destruction needs to be assessed as the daylight hours have come forward. I do know that I've lost at least 1 sheriff's black and white to a fire. Thank God that the deputy is okay. But deputies continue to be on patrol throughout the road closure areas to ensure evacuation areas remain closed to the public. All schools in the Pasadena Unified School District are closed. There is a road closure at Altadena Drive from Allen to New York Drive. For those in need of shelter, please head to the Pasadena Convention Center located at 300 East Green Street in the city of Pasadena, and we're working with them in Unified Command and in partnership as well. For animals, there are established shelters at Large Animal Shelter Rose Bowl Stadium at 1001 Rose Bowl Drive in Pasadena, Small Animal Shelter Pasadena Humane Society at 361 South Raymond Avenue in Pasadena. I'm going to switch gears now to the Palisades fire that we've been heavily involved in with our partners, again, with LAPD and LA City Fire and everyone else that's up there working. As of this morning, the fire was still burning in that area. That's impacting our residents. Evacuations are in effect, continuously in effect for the city of Calabasas, the city of Malibu, Los Angeles City, Pacific Palisades, and unincorporated area of Los Angeles County and Topanga Canyon. Evacuation orders, there are approximately 37,000 residents under evacuation orders and approximately 15,000 structures at risk. Again, that's specifically for the Palisades fire. Evacuation warnings, approximately 20,000 residents are under evacuation warnings and approximately 6,500 structures are at risk. There have been minor injuries, and our partners at the fire department have talked about those, and several, unfortunately, structures that have been lost, and we're still assessing those. Bear with me, I'm almost there. There's a lot of information, very important information. There are several road closures which can change rapidly. The 10 freeway at Lincoln Boulevard, southbound PCH at Las Flores Canyon, southbound PCH at Topanga Canyon, Coastline Drive at southbound PCH, westbound PCH to Entrada to eastbound closed from PCH and Malibu Canyon. We have established shelters up for that fire in the following locations. Westwood Recreation Center, which is at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard in Los Angeles. Pasadena Convention Center, which I already mentioned, we can go there. 300 East Green Street in the city of Pasadena. And El Camino Real Charter High School, 5440 Valley Circle Boulevard in Woodland Hills. Animal shelters, large animals, LA Equestrian Center at 480 West Riverside in Burbank, large animal shelter Pierce College, 6201 Winnetka Avenue in Woodland Hills, large animal shelter Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, small animal shelter Agora Animal Center, and small animal shelter Pasadena Humane Society as well. We got to take care of our pets. As I wrap up, a reminder, and you've heard it from several of us, you need to be prepared. If you are in a warning area, make sure you have your essentials, your important paperwork, your medications, things that you can take, your phone charger to survive for at least a week. But if you are told to evacuate and given an order, there is nothing worth your life. Please listen to the police and fire officials that are out there and be prepared to evacuate. If you have more questions or there's about evacuations, evacuation centers, or road closures, go to lacounty.gov/emergency or our Sheriff's Department social media. Now it's my honor to introduce my partner, of the Chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, Jim McDonald.
Thank you very much. And as you look at the group assembled behind me this morning, each of those and everybody we represent who's out in the field all have families. Many are impacted directly by the fire, but they leave those families to come and try and be able to help everybody else who's out there. So I owe a debt of gratitude to everybody who is putting it all on the line for everyone else. This is a tragic time in our history here in Los Angeles, but a time where we're really tested and see who we really are. And it's critical that at these times we be patient, that we come together, that we focus on saving lives and to be able to do the very best job we can, so when we look back on this, we know that we did what we could for others. I look at the people who were out there on the line last night. The winds were like something that I have never seen before. Firefighters, police officers, deputies, they're out there sheltering in their vehicles, their trucks and their cars, so that they don't end up getting burned from the fire that was being driven by 75+ mile-an-hour winds. They were there until they could get out of the car and go back to doing their work. As you can imagine, a very difficult circumstance to deal with. These are, as I mentioned, unprecedented conditions, but also unpredictable. As the fire continues to spread and pop up in different locations, none of us know where the next one is going to be. So I would ask you to be vigilant, to look at your neighborhood, to talk to your neighbors, to have everybody on board, so that if they see something start up, that we get on it very quickly. We get fire resources out there as soon as we possibly can, because with these winds, once it starts small, it'll be very big very quickly. And so I would ask for everybody's help, cooperation, and vigilance in that role. As you've heard before about evacuation, that makes the difference between living and not. And so I would ask you to take these warnings, these orders to evacuate very seriously. As you've heard over and again, be ready to go, pack what you need up, but then please comply with these orders. We don't give them, put them out lightly. when we believe that you're in the path of the fire, we're going to order that evacuation, and we really, really need your compliance on that, because if we have to send people in to try and make rescues, those people are putting their lives on the line directly for something that could have been avoidable. Sheriff Luna mentioned looting. That's something that we also have to watch out for. That is incredible that we'd even have to talk about that during these tragic times. But we are going to take that also extremely seriously, and we will follow up with that in the strongest way possible. As far as traffic goes, that's something that we're used to dealing with here. This will be an extra test of gridlock in many places due to people not having access to their normal routes. I would say that if you have an ability to be able to stay out of the west side today, to commute or to work from home, as long as your employers are good with that, to take advantage of that. The air is very tough today for particularly those who are challenged medically. If you can stay home and work from there, I would recommend that. We will continue to support our partners in the fire service and our other law enforcement partners. But to all and the public who are watching this, sincere thank you to all of you for your cooperation and your patience as we all get through this together. Thank you.
Now we're going to introduce my colleague, Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, who represents the Palisades area. Lindsay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This morning, we woke up to a dark cloud over all of Los Angeles, but it is darkest for those who are most intimately impacted by these fires. It has been an immensely painful 24 hours for communities I represent. The Palisades, the Hearst, and Woodley fires are all in the 3rd District. But our strength is in our togetherness, and that will determine how we make it through. We need your partnership in this time of crisis. It is difficult to process the immensity of the destruction and loss, and we extend our hearts and every resource we have to all of our impacted residents. We know when we talk about these structures, they aren't just structures. They aren't even just houses. They're homes. This is our home. These are places where we built community, where we raised families, where we made memories that we will never forget, even if we can't go back to these structures. These are our home. Losing home is simply devastating. And I know that we are all here to support you and stand with you in this time of need. Aggressive winds and fire know no jurisdictional boundaries, nor does coordination and action across our LA County agencies with President Biden and Governor Newsom as they unlock support through fire assistance management grants for Palisades, Eaton, and Hearst fires so far. The talent and tenacity of our first responders is nothing short of extraordinary. And I've said it before, these people on the front lines are doing this because this is their calling. This is not simply a job that they came to have an occupation. They are called to this work to keep us safe, to keep our community safe, and to do all they can in this time of crisis to protect our Los Angeles County. Overnight winds grounded our vehicles, and we have red flag conditions through the end of day tomorrow. But we know that because of these fearless warriors on the front lines, we are doing all that we can to contain this fire. Thank you for your work to keep Los Angeles County safe, including the 3rd District communities of Pacific Palisades, Topanga Canyon, Sunset Mesa, Malibu, Santa Monica, Sylmar, Granada Hills, Lake Balboa, and surrounding communities. Our #1 message to everyone in impacted areas is to follow all evacuation orders and warnings and to stay where you are safe as long as the evacuations remain in place. We continue to have shelter capacity for you, as you have heard, for you, for your pets, and we have animal sheltering sites as well. These orders are not just to keep you safe and to keep your community safe, they are also to keep those on the front lines of this devastating crisis safe. And the longer that you wait to evacuate, the more you are putting people in danger who are putting their lives on the line to protect your homes. Please don't do this. Please evacuate. There is also an evacuation order in Santa Monica, the northern border of the city to San Vicente. The warning is north of Montana to San Vicente as well. We have an evacuation order as well as a warning there. Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall is in Sylmar, and that is under evacuation warning because of the Hearst fire. Our probation department has evacuation plans in place should that move to an evacuation order from a warning, and our priority is to keep our youth in our care safe. Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District has closed its schools today, and as you heard from Superintendent Carvalho, LAUSD has a variety of updates. We have heard from our state insurance commissioner as well, and while this is still quite early in this emergency, we do have some initial guidance from his office for evacuated households on reimbursable insurance expenses, with information to be found at insurance.ca.gov. Obtain a complete copy of your insurance policy, take note of additional living expense limits, track additional expenses, document conversations with your insurer or adjuster, and don't rush any decisions. If you have any questions, call 800-927-4357. Please continue to check emergency.lacounty.gov for the latest information. And I know we will see brighter skies by working together. Los Angeles County will continue to be unrelenting in our response. And I know we have only the finest on the front lines fighting this fire. It's our duty to see them succeed. Thank you.
All right, now we are going to hear from LA City Council President and Mayor Pro Tem Marquise Harris Johnson.
Going on with this press conference.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, I just want to begin by thanking and recognizing and acknowledging the great work of our first responders, especially the men and women of the Los Angeles Fire Department, who last night we all witnessed doing heroic work in the face of grave danger. Last night was one of the most devastating and terrifying nights that we've seen in any part of our city at any part of our history. Fire literally jumping roads, taking out structures, and our public safety professionals created an environment where injuries were kept to a minimum, fatalities were kept to a minimum, and we wake up this morning with a renewed spirit that we can defeat this fire and move on to a brighter day. I want to also acknowledge the two members of the council that are with us today that represent the areas of the fire. Councilwoman Tracy Park of the 11th District, who's I think probably has about 90 minutes sleep by my count, because every time I looked on the television, you were there knocking on doors in neighborhoods, in community centers, at the shelters, making sure the community was okay. And then an absolute professional, someone who, since I've been on the council with her, has had to fight a fire almost every year. And so is a pro from the San Fernando Valley, the council member from the 7th District, Monica Rodriguez. And again, all the men and women, the firefighters are in the front, but our DWP workers are out there making sure we don't have additional fires from power lines, and countless folks, DOT, making sure the flow of traffic stays so that folks who want to evacuate can do so, are out there as well. So there's literally thousands and thousands of people working together to make this work. I want to announce a few more closures to add to the school closures that we heard and the closures that the sheriff and the supervisor read to us. Griffith Park closed today, including Lake Hollywood. Runyon Canyon closed today. The Los Angeles Zoo closed today. the Hollywood Reservoir closed today, the Hollywood Sign closed today, as well as all the roads through the Sepulveda Basin in the San Fernando Valley. So nobody should be going those places today anyway. I will amend what Chief McDonald said. Not only if you're on the west side or in the valley, anywhere in this city, if you can stay off the roads, please do so. I live in South LA, a long way away from the fires. Visibility is less than 1 block because of the smoke. So if there is not a good reason for that you leave the roads open as possibly as you can to the public safety professionals that have to do their work and will lead us out of the crisis that we face here in the city of Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles today. Also, lastly, just grateful for the work of the President of the United States, kicked in for us late last night, who happens to be in Southern California. The governor was with us in the Pacific Palisades last night and has helped out. And a range of municipalities around the county and outside the county have come in to help where they can. And we're extremely, extremely grateful for their help in this time of crisis for our city and our county. And with that, I will ask the Director of the Office of Emergency Management for Los Angeles County, Kevin McGowan, to come to the mic.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Kevin McGowan. I'm the director with LA County's Office of Emergency Management. As my partners up here have said before, we're facing a historic natural disaster, and I think that can't be stated strong enough. This is not a normal red flag. We've been in partnership with the National Weather Service for days prior to the arrival of this severe windstorm. There's been amazing communication by the National Weather Service, and they should be acknowledged for all of the communication that was put out days in advance. What's critical about that is it partnered all of our public safety and emergency organizations throughout the county to begin preparations for this. And a lot of the successes we saw over the last 18 to 20 hours is a direct result of painstaking preparations that had gone into place for the last 48 to 72 hours. We still have a long road ahead of us. Our county is known with wildland fires. We just finished working on the Franklin fire. We've had the Bridge fire, the Post fire. This has been a very destructive fire season. This is just going to add to it. Our eyes are on mitigating the impacts from this emergency, working with our community partners, and then charting a course for what will be a long recovery effort. With that, I would like to introduce our Department of Public Works for LA County Director, Mark Pistrella.
Good morning. Thank you, Kevin. My name is Mark Pistrella. I'm the Director of Public Works for Los Angeles County, the largest public works department in the United States. We're coordinating across the area with all our partner agencies, including, of course, primarily the City of Los Angeles, in addressing this event today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what our focus is in terms of infrastructure, and then I'll move on. Before I do that, though, I do want to acknowledge all of the residents that have either lost a home or who are being evacuated. I do personally understand what that is about and understand what kind of fear that can put into you. One thing I would recommend to you before you leave that home, if you want something to do, is to close that home up tight, close any openings, completely tight to the home, and make sure that access is open to the fire department in the event that they want to come on and do work on your property. That's one thing I've learned through the years is important. So right now, LA County Public Works is focused on water supply, the road safety and transportation system, and preparing our flood control system for the inevitable post-event, which may be flows of debris and mud. With respect to water resources, there's been quite a bit of talk in the media about the water system that we're using for suppression. So let me make the following statement. There have been quite a bit of comments over social media about the local water supply and its impact on firefighting efforts. There is collaboration across this region. Over 200 water retailers serve the region. LA County serves the area that in the Eaton fire area. LA City serves the area, the Palisades area. We also serve the Palisades area in the north area of unincorporated area water supply through the hydrant system. The municipal water systems that service our homes and businesses continue to work effectively. However, they are not designed to fight wildfires. A firefight with multiple fire hydrants drawing water from the system for several hours is unsustainable. This is a known fact. That's why air support is so critical to the firefight. And unfortunately, wind and air visibility have prevented that support. County water reservoir, however, county and city water reservoirs, open reservoirs, are available and on standby once that support becomes available. We will be having fixed wing as well as helicopter draw of water from our system. We also need customers to understand that it is really quite futile to attempt to fight fire with your hose at your house. That's not something I would recommend you do, but in fact I would ask that you turn off your water and turn off your gas, both things, before you leave the residence so that we can continue to have that water supply for the hydrant system. The transportation system is operating with many, many closures. Those closures are meant for evacuation as well as fire suppression efforts. So we're asking residents not to abandon vehicles in streets, to not park vehicles in streets, but to leave those vehicles on your property. And we ask that you drive very carefully because we also have the other event of wind right now. And we have numerous signals out across the area. So we need people to drive very consciously in the street system. And then the third piece in the road system and in our homes is the wind is causing massive tree fall. We have numerous, over hundreds and hundreds of trees that have fallen in the area already, and we expect more of that to occur. This is a safety hazard for you and your children. So we're asking that you avoid walking outside, avoid being under trees, avoid parking cars under trees, all the things that you can imagine that a tree can do. A tree can be just as devastating to a home and to your personal self as a fire. So please be aware that the wind event is going to continue and the infrastructure is in place to do with that. We are currently preparing to remove that. We are removing trees as they fall where it's safe to do so. There will be a mass debris removal system put together that the county is coordinating, but we would be removing and working with the cities to remove the mass debris that's going to occur not only from the structures that have been damaged, but all of these trees that are down. So please, one of the things is make way for our utility workers who are in support of the very brave firemen and sheriff and police force that are out doing their job. We are in full support of them. So lastly, on the flood control system, this is just a quick note that yes, in fact, we will have a lot of debris. The flood control system has been impacted, that covers the entire region, by the fire. In fact, many of our facilities have been burned. One in Eaton area, Eaton Yard, where there is a debris dam there, and its facilities are currently threatened. We're looking at that and going to raise up those systems. As we enter into post-fire, our department will be available to do a review of your individual properties to make sure that you're safe from debris flow as another event that may occur in LA County. With that, I'm happy to turn over the microphone to my partner from the Department of Water and Power, the General Manager, Janice Quinones.
Thank you, Mark. I am Janice Quinones, CEO and Chief Engineer for LADWP. I want to start by thanking everybody on this response. I've been in emergency management my whole career, and the collaboration I've seen in this response has been incredible, especially our first responders, our crews. I want to thank our crews that have been working on high winds trying to restore power as fast as possible. And also county, city council, mayor's office. The mayor has been in contact with me all the time. And also other utilities in California have been proactively reaching out to us to help us with the restoration. So we're in the process of contacting them to ask for more support. I want to continue the thought process that Mark had about water supply in Palisades. We had a tremendous demand on our system in the Palisades. We pushed the system to the extreme. 4 times the normal demand was seen for 15 hours straight, which lowered our water pressure. We were pushing 75 CFS on our trunk line to try to keep water pressures in the system. If there's a message you take away from me today, is I need our customers to really conserve water, not just in the Palisade area, but the whole system, because the fire department needs the water to fight the fires, and we're fighting a wildfire with urban water systems, and that is really challenging. What happened in Palisades? We have 3 large water tanks, about 1 million gallons each. We ran out of water in the first tank at about 4:45 p.m. yesterday. We ran out of water in the second tank about 8:30 p.m. and the third tank about 3 a.m. this morning. Those tanks help with the pressure on the fire hydrants and the hills of Palisades. And because we were pushing so much water in our trunk line, and so much water was being used before it can get to the tanks, we were not able to fill the tanks fast enough. So the consumption of water was faster than we can provide water in our trunk line. So I want to make sure that you understand there's water on the trunk line. It just cannot get up the hill because we cannot fill the tanks fast enough. And we cannot lower the amount of water that we provide to the fire department in order to supply the tanks because we're balancing firefighting with water. So we have our operations people on the water side at the command post with the fire department, helping them with tactics to ensure that we can provide as much water as we can find to our first responders. What are we doing now? We're sending about 20 water tanks for our construction crews full of water to support the fire department. We identify other areas in our system where our tankers can refill. It takes about 30 minutes to refill about 4,000 gallons of water, and we're constantly moving that water to the fire department to get them as much water as we can. I would also ask for the people on zip code 90272, because we're pushing the water system so hard, our water quality is decreasing. So we're gonna be issuing a boil water notice this morning, and that will extend for about 48 hours. The water quality is low. We have a lot of ash in the system. And so please, if you're gonna be drinking water, you need to boil the water. Those boiled waters will continue to increase as the system starts restoring. We're also managing a power outage restoration. Our water emergency has been the #1 primary issue, but the power issues are continue to increase. The winds picked up at around 11 p.m. last night, and that's when we saw the majority of our outages coming in. As of 7 a.m. today, we have 135,000 customers out of power. We have restored about 78,000 customers since the start of the outage. 32 customers have been out of power for more than 10 hours and 7 for over 18 hours. If you are out of power, I urge you to call us, call 911, let us know so that we can get to you as fast as safely as possible. We are on a severe emergency activation at the EOC for both water and power. It's taking us 24 to 48 hours to get to all of the outage. That's why we're gonna start increasing our mutual aid request to get more crews on here to reduce that restoration time, but we cannot do that until it's safe for our crews. And I'm happy to report we have had no safety incidents for either the water and the power crews, which we need all the crews safely operating in our system. 40% of our outages were due to us having to de-energize the circuits for public safety. And we cannot energize them until it's safe to do so, and we have put eyes on our system. 20% is because of wire downs, and 6.5% is because our system has protected itself from further outages, and so we have to patrol every line before we come back online. With that, I just want to thank everybody, and Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We want to transition. We're 5 minutes over. We do want to give a little bit of time for question and answer with the press. I'm going to call on you. Please identify yourself, your name, and which media outlet you're with. I see a hand up here. We'll go with you first.
Because this press conference called One Voice is bringing together some of our city leaders, our county leaders here together for this incredible tragedy, this crisis that we're experiencing right now. And a lot of our viewers are asking, how can other Angelenos help? Because people want to volunteer, people want to help. What's the best way that other folks out there that want to help, what can they do?
Well, first of all, thank you for that question, because I think this does speak volumes to the fact that it's not just at the local level, it's at the state and the federal level as well, and it is one voice. We're seeing these fires taking place countywide, which is stretching our resources. But to the public, I mentioned All Saints in Pasadena that's opened up its church to people that are evacuating, people that are not only part of their parish, but also people that are seeking refuge. I would encourage, and we will work with our Office of Emergency Management, to put together a list of what you can do to help. I know at Pasadena Convention Center, they're looking for resources, food, and blankets. Red Cross is putting that together, but we can always use more. So this is the time for us all to come together. I mean, we're trying to wrap our heads around just getting this fire under control. But make no mistake, we will put something together so that people can offer their support. You are seeing the goodness, and I know Supervisor Horvath mentioned it. With all these horrific stories you hear, you also hear stories of people that are doing amazing things to help their neighbors and their community.
Thank you for that. I'll go ahead in the green shirt.
Yeah, the DWP was talking about the problems with the water supply, and I was wondering if either the DWP or the fire department has any kind of numbers to talk about, like what is the number of hydrants that could not get water because of these pressure issues, what percentage of the system in Pacific Palisades wasn't getting serviced at that point, and given the type of things you're describing this morning, do you think there needs to be an overhaul of the system, given these increasing number of urban fires? And also, when does the mayor return?
And name and media outlet, please.
David Zahnizer with the Los Angeles Times.
So, Chief, please correct me if I'm wrong, but we were trying to keep water at all altitudes on the Palisades, and I think about 3 in the morning, that's when the hydrants went dry above the Brentwood area. We are able to push water on that trunk line on the east side of that. And we have some water on higher elevations, 16 to 18,000, but at 3,000, at 3 a.m., all of the fire hydrants went dry in the Palisades. To your question of climate resiliency and how do we need to update the system, I would say that that is true. We were talking with the county supervisor and Mark on how are we going to change the way we operate our water systems for events like this. This is an unprecedented event. I think the 2011 winds was significant from a power outage perspective, but the fires have really increased the response complexity of this. We had crews trying to mitigate this, and we had to evacuate. We worked with fire department to try to get back in and try to fill the tanks again. It wasn't safe to do so. So you're managing the fires, you're managing the power outage, and you're managing the water needs because it was an urban wildfire firefighting. So yes, we have to look at our system from a climate resiliency as a region, and it's going to be more than just DWP. It's all the water agencies here, including the county.
Thank you. Over here in the burgundy with a mask. Name and media outlet, please.
Real quick, I can speak on the operational side of the hydrants. We don't have a specific number to the hydrants. We do know that it came in phases. Now, our firefighters always have a primary plan, a backup plan, contingency, and emergency plan. So oftentimes, just so that the public is aware, in large brush fires, water supplies are normally limited. So with that, our apparatus do have the ability to draft water if we need to out of pools, ponds, any type of water resource. We also utilize the water tenders, in which we spoke about a little bit earlier. So with that, I just wanted to clarify that. In regard to when the mayor is returning, I spoke to her this morning at 4 o'clock. She's on her way for the last leg of her journey back home from Dallas, so her ETA is right around noon.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Buenos dias, everybody. Ali Santana with Telemundo 52. For Chief Crowley, Chief Maroney, where can people go to donate food, water, supplies, and for Superintendente Carvalho, Sheriff Luna, and CEO Quiñones, just something in Espanol for our people in...
We will do something in Spanish right after we conclude over here with a couple of Spanish speakers. Regarding the volunteer information.
Sure. So thank you for the question about the donations. I know we spoke about that earlier. Just a touch point for the community. We are so grateful for the community's efforts in regard to donations. Now, what I do want to be mindful about to make sure that we share is please listen to the direction of where those donations, either through money and or food, any type of donation, it can become problematic if the public starts to just drop things off. So we are putting together a strong plan from our Emergency Operations Center. We're at the highest level at this point. We're coordinating with the county as well. So stand by for more information. We want to be very purposeful and strategic in how we're going to collect those donations, and they are welcomed.
Right over here with the glasses and the gray, right behind you. Over here with the hand up.
Scott Snowden, Santa Monica Daily Press. Question for Ms. Horvath. Are there any forecasts or predictions at this point for the economic impact of this?
There are no early numbers of the economic impact, but we are already exploring how we can do, for example, a business interruption fund, as we have done in other states of emergency. We know that there are many businesses that have also been impacted in addition to the people who are experiencing difficulty in their homes. So we are looking at what resources the county has available to support on all fronts. But thank you for the question.
Lastly, do you think this will affect insurance companies in their approach to house owners going forward?
I believe it already has, and the conversation is ongoing. As I shared earlier from the insurance commissioner, I know this is an ongoing conversation in his office, and he has provided that information and welcoming phone calls from folks who do have questions about insurance impacts as a result of these fires. I do know that yesterday, through the help of our chair, the county declared a state of emergency, as did the governor, and I know that there are other states of emergency that will be declared in order to make sure that all residents are able to readily access everything that they need to in response to these claims.
Thank you. We need to move on. Right here in the front, young woman with the hand up.
Hi, Grace Tui with the Los Angeles Times. I was hoping one of the fire chiefs could talk a little bit about long-range spotting and how far we actually saw embers jumping from one fire to other spot fires. And then additionally, we heard repeatedly fire crews requesting help, backup, and not having enough crews. Were you guys prepared enough for this? Did we have enough resources to fight these fires? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I'll start at the end and work back. No, LA County and all 29 fire departments in our county are not prepared for this type of widespread disaster. There are not enough firefighters in LA County to address 4 separate fires of this magnitude. We were prepared. We did get state pre-position resources that came from Northern California that were up in the Santa Clarita Valley. We did hire additional firefighters from the LA County Fire Department and pre-position them in the Santa Monica Mountains. The LA County Fire Department was prepared for 1 or 2 major brush fires, but not 4, especially given these sustained winds and low humidities. Like our Director of Emergency Management said, this is not a normal red flag alert. People were calling for help. We tried to get them the help that they needed. LA County right now, like the LA City Fire Department, is prioritizing life safety, but we're also engaging in structure defense, perimeter control, and aerial operations. Remember that the LA County Fire Department has 13 aerial assets available to it. In addition to our agency-owned helicopters, we have our 2 CL-415 Super Scoopers and our CH-47, which is part of the 3-county QRF. So we're prepared to keep fighting the fight. Like I said earlier, I've requested additional resources, not only from Northern California, but from out of state. We did that last night, yesterday. So we're doing the very best we can. But no, we don't have enough fire personnel in LA County between all of the departments to handle this. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a couple of just quick questions.
I just want to also acknowledge that that came down from Sacramento State Senator Ben Allen and Sasha Perez, as well as our Santa Monica Mayor Negrete, who's also present here. And I know that Congressman George Whiteside is flying in from Washington, D.C. He represents the Sylmar Santa Clarita area. And so we appreciate you all being here.
Thank you,
and
Chair
I think
Barker.
someone from the mayor's office would like to go ahead.
Thank you,
Introduce
Supervisor.
yourself.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Celine Cordero, Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Bass. I just wanted to step forward and address the question about the mayor. The mayor will be on the ground shortly, very shortly this morning, and engaged. But I want to assure the community and the city, our mayor has been actively engaged 100% of the time, the entire last 24 hours throughout this unfortunate event and crisis. The mayor has been in constant communication with our chief of police, our fire chief, our council law enforcement partners, our Supervisor Barger, thank you, and our county partners. So I just want to stress, she has had 100% access the entire time that she's been traveling and been actively involved in the decision making. So thank you very much to all up here, and the mayor looks forward to meeting you very shortly this morning.
Thank you for that. Over here in the green shirt.
Good morning. Stephen Coleman, KABC. You mentioned 4 fires. I'm aware of 3. Could you describe and characterize the 4th fire? County fire?
Yes, I can speak briefly on that 4th fire was a Woodley fire, which is approximately, it was a smaller fire. We threw a lot of resources at it. It is under control at this point. We'll push that information out to the media so you have the very specifics, but we're calling it the Woodley fire. Yeah, it was in the Sepulveda Basin. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Last question, then we'll have one-on-ones.
Hi, Samantha Norris, San Fernando Valley Sun. I know the Hearst fire is one of the smaller fires here, but can somebody speak more to what resources are being deployed to that fire? And for people in the Sylmar area, what are the evacuation zone areas, any closures, and where those people can go in the area?
Hi, good morning. Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez from the 7th District. Last night we evacuated 71 horses from the Stetson Ranch area. The fire came up quickly, and so thankfully they were safely evacuated to the Hanson Dam Equestrian Center. As we indicated, this is a very dynamic situation, and the lack of aerial support is making it that much more challenging for firefighters to be able to fight these fires, whether it's in the Palisades or any other part of the county. And so it's critically important that people heed the evacuation orders. In the Sylmar community, Richie Valens Rec Center in Pacoima is available for the evacuations. Currently, there is 80% vacancies, so there's still capacity for people to evacuate there. Going beyond that, we will continue to open up additional facilities as it's needed. I want to ensure the public that the things that you can do, and I know the question was asked earlier, if you're not in the immediate fire area, there are things that you can do to be of assistance, and it goes to looking at hardening your home from any potential threat of embers. These embers fly. They can go for a couple miles. So we want to ensure that they do everything to create the defensible space in their homes if they're in the adjacent areas. Again, staying off the roads to the greatest degree possible. More importantly, reducing your water usage at this time because there is no aerial support. All of our water is being heavily demanded upon for these firefights in all parts of the county. So these are the proactive measures that people can be taking to be of assistance immediately given the needs of our first responders. If you have downed power lines, report those to 911. We can also report all outages to 1-800-DIAL-DWP. And most importantly, for trees that are down, because we know we have a lot of road blockages, our Bureau of Street Services, for the City of Los Angeles, all of our street services crew and public works crews are out there doing that work as well, and they are part of our first responders. Want to make sure that everyone's reporting those to 311 so that we can keep the roads cleared for everyone to have the greatest amount of access for our fire personnel. But most importantly, for the adjacent equine areas, because I know in the Hearst fire, we're concerned about the spread right now. There's a lull in the wind, but we're concerned about the potential spread to other equine areas. We want to make sure that we launched our early evacuation for horse keeping areas in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, and I want to continue to urge the public in these adjacent areas to please be prepared with your bags, with your important documents, to be ready to be prepared to potentially heed the call for evacuation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're over time. We're going to...
Just one clarity as well, so you have some of the statistics. It started at 1010 last night. The latest acreage we have is 500 acres. We're working closely with our partners, which are the Los Angeles National Forest. We have a rep over here behind us, so we can do some one-on-ones if you want more specific, but we are unified with them. Also, the good news is, through the heroic efforts of our crews working through the night last night, our overall objective was to keep that fire so it did not overpass the 5, did not cross the 5 at this point. We're able to hold it to that point. But again, the winds are back up. We're working really, really hard there to make sure we maintain that. And we're going to continue to work really, really hard with our partners.
Thanks, Chief. I don't have too much more to add, but I will share that the Los Angeles City Fire and the Angeles National Forest went into unified command immediately when that fire started. And that fire started in an area we're well exercised, known as the mutual threat zone. So that's a part of our pre-planned unified command area, and that includes ground resources and aircraft. And of course, as mentioned, the aircraft has been having a hard time finding good air, and actually with the wind speeds. We're assessing aircraft availability every minute, continuously watching for a window to get aircraft up from multiple parts and multiple agencies. The Angeles National Forest aircraft and the air tanker base that services the Southern California areas in Lancaster under the U.S. Forest Service, and they're watching for opportunities to launch aircraft. But last night, the winds out in the Antelope Valley were just as bad as they were here in what we call the Front Range. So we're still struggling to get aircraft in the air. Yes, sir. Robert Garcia, Fire Chief for the Angeles National Forest.
Thank you. We are wrapping up our press conference. We will have one-on-ones and a short for Spanish media. If you gather right over here, we will have Sheriff Luna and also LA City PIO with Fire David Ortiz. So Spanish interviews right over here.
As they continue with the Spanish portion of the news conference, this was a very important and comprehensive update from county and city leaders on the scope of these 4 fires burning out of control in the Southland, the information that came out of it. Importantly, 1,000 structures have been burned or damaged or destroyed in the Pacific Palisades. 2 reported deaths in the Eaton fire.
We're going to call Hypnotize. Hypnotize, is going through it. Her family's home is out there. And she's currently in Texas, but she has family out there. She grew up in that home that's out there. Let me see if I can give her a call here. She wanted to talk. Let's see. Let's try it out. Here, let me see if this audio is correct. Okay. Try to call now. It's kind of loud. Let me fix the volume.
Hi, Mel.
Hey, how you doing?
Whew, a little nervous.
So tell me what's going on. I saw your email. I don't know how much you want out there. Just giving a little background.
Yeah, I shared, I think most of everything that I shared in that long email you can share. So
you live in Texas?
I haven't lived there for a long time, but my family still does.
Okay, in Altadena, California?
Yes. So if, obviously I'm using my phone right now, so I can't see the stream, but if you go on to any kind of map on Sonoma Drive between Murata and Hill Avenue, above New York Drive in Altadena, that's where my family lives.
Trying to pull up that area. So it would be in.
It's right in the middle of. The reporters who are out in Altadena and they're talking to people who are putting the fires out. That's just like 2 streets away. So, and it's an older home. It's a big Spanish house. It's really beautiful, and the number of people that have come through there over the years, my family was just very inviting, had a lot of people come through, helped a lot of people, and it's just been a wonderful community, family place, that always has that special place in my heart.
Wow. And that area, so do you know if the house is caught fire yet, or it's just near there, last you heard?
I can't imagine that it hasn't. It's right there. It's possible that it hasn't, but regardless, the area is, going to be changed forever. It sounds really hoity-toity, but like the country club is right next to it, and it was only like, I don't know, $25 a month or something to join the country club if you live in that area. And so we would always go so we could use a big pool and things like that. And they said that's burned down the whole country club. There's a lot of historic structures. As I mentioned, they do a lot of filming there for all kinds of television shows and movies. So it's very common to see film crews there about a bunch of your favorite shows.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at Sonoma Drive right now. I see where you were saying Murata and Hill Avenue, and then I see Sonoma Drive.
Yep. So that block, it's just like one little block there. That's where my family lives, right there. You know, I was born on in the Northeast, and I just moved in with my family near LA, and they were very good to me, and those are some of the best years I ever had.
Wow. And do you know if they had insurance? I mean, the insurance stuff is like, because I know it's just not going to replace the memories and all the stuff in the house and all that. But
yeah, I mean, it's just stuff, right? You know, this is what you realize when, like, my mom from Maine, her house burned down a couple of years ago, just in like an instant. It happened so quickly that she and my stepdad and their dog were just really lucky to get out. And everything, it can be replaced. I mean, the photographs and family mementos are what hurts the most.
Yeah.
But I think it's just knowing that there's that central place where everyone convened and would, you know, celebrate holidays and things like that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, thanks
Is your
for-
family okay? Like, have you communicated with them and stuff?
Yes. My younger cousin now, she does like a little catering business out of there. And she's the one who lives there, and she and the animals and everybody got out safely.
Oh, that's good.
So that's what's most important. But
And I see the roads. It looks like the roads are all blocked surrounding that area. So I guess nobody can really get in.
I'm sure. I mean, and I've evacuated before. I've lived in other parts nearby. But it's like hiking areas, canyon areas. It's usually relegated to that, not on the street, not homes, or very few, you know. And LA always has its fires every year, but it's just totally different when it.
Have you had a fire like this? Like growing up, have you had fires over there like this bad, or just?
No. Like I said about oh my gosh, it's going to make me old, but about almost 20 years ago now. I was very young, extremely young. 20 years ago, I was living there in that general area. And on the east side of, again, if you look at a map, there's this large street lake that goes all the way up through Pasadena, up into Altadena, and into the foothills. And so the east side was sort of being built later on, where a lot on the right side, those are the more like established older homes. So I was living in kind of that up and coming neighborhood. Yeah. And we had to evacuate and turn off the gas and all that, but nothing happened. It was just the wilderness, beautiful wilderness. And, you know, a lot of people have horses. Yeah. A lot of actors and actresses and people, you know, well, when I say that, I mean, actually people that you wouldn't necessarily see, not the fancy people who are like the big stars, but the people who work on production, stuff like that.
Right.
Those are the people that that are like filled in with Altadena.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear all this stuff is happening to you and your
Well,
family.
I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm totally safe, and I don't have a ton of information, but I've been listening to you for so long,
I
and
know, I've seen you around so much. Yeah.
when I had a different screen name, we chatted, you and I, like years ago.
Yeah.
And so it was totally different then. Now you've got like a few thousand people watching, I think. So God knows what they're saying. But back then it was just like a much smaller little platform that you had.
Oh, it looks like they blocked my stream for some reason.
Did they take you down?
I don't know. It said we detected video belonged to someone else.
Oh, no.
That's really weird. How? All I've been playing is news clips.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm gonna have to check that out. We might have to start a new stream.
Well, I am so sorry to hear that. I'll let you
I know.
do what you need to do.
I guess. Yeah. Let me figure this out. But yeah, thank you so much for calling it in and sharing that experience.
Oh, of course. Like I said, I feel like, I feel like you're my friend, my associate, something, since I've been watching you on and off for a few years now.
Thanks.
All right, take it easy.
All right.
I hope you can recover the stream.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Something about, I don't know. Somebody copy claimed it and blocked the stream or something. I don't know why. Huh?
Policy violation.
I don't know how that's even possible because all I did was play news clips,
News stations.
Mhm. I'm gonna try to redirect people. Let me see if I can move people over. People that are still there. You think I should use a notification and try? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out these people when you have a lot of people watching, like these thirst buckets, they try to come and like take your shit. Let me just set up the stream. I'll have to deal with it after. I mean, I need some time to do this stuff, but I don't want to lose all the people. There's 2,000 people still. Yeah. People always trying to fuck with me.
I'm wondering if it's them because the Ashton chick keeps asking about Mustard Mama. Can they report your stream? Could that do it or no?
No, it has to be. I don't know. It said copy claim.
Oh, for us, it's a policy violation. It's like everywhere.
All right, let me transfer people over.